It is. Okay. Hi, everyone. We're live.
We're doing it.
I'm gonna take us back to a loading screen for a second,
Wow.
and look at that. We're Welcome to Plus One EXP. We're a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare, alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our dream and hope is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games, and amazing players find great games that they can love. I think that's the intro. It's been a bit.
It's close enough. It's close enough, I feel.
Hi, everyone. Introduce yourself. Sarah, you can go first.
Oh, I'll go first. Hi, I'm Osiric Franco. I'm the other cult leader and stepdad here at Plus One EXP. And I'm here and I'm excited about all the things. And I'm excited to once again be joined by Clove. Clove, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Clove Fulminata, they, them. I'm a tabletop designer and artist. All of my stuff is at clove.games. And yeah, we're playing my game Revenant World 2 Our Minerva tonight.
Hell yeah. Want to tell us about the game, son?
Yeah, so I'll read right from the ad copy, as it were. Our Minerva is a GMless slice-of-life tabletop role-playing game about the athlete children of undead gods. You'll portray their exploits in sport, their responsibilities in duty, and especially their interactions and relationships in a quiet rural town where they never actually lived. So yeah, it's a GMless playing card-based slice-of-life dating sim sports anime RPG.
Hell yeah. That description is always so wild, and I'm very excited to actually get to play it.
Yeah. I'm excited to introduce it to some new players, because I've never played with either of you.
Hell yeah. Well, I guess, without further ado, we might as well just hop into it.
All right.
So how are we starting here?
Okay, yeah, so we're starting with character creation. In our Minerva, character creation is a collaborative game phase that we do together. Overall, tonight we're doing a bit of a condensed version of an arc of the game to fit into a digestible stream. So where normally we would have all of the new players play as or make full teams, teams of 3 each. I think for tonight we'll just have each of you make one character. Because each arc of the game we focus in on the sort of like action and story of one of the 3 characters on each of our teams. So yeah, we can jump right to page 6 if you're going by the on-page numbers of the illustrated book.
Perfect. Which I have right here. You said page 6?
Yes.
Cool.
So yeah, does somebody wanna read from the little narrative blurb to get us in the scenario here?
Yeah, sure. Is this the blurb that starts with the Minerva are strange beings?
Yes, yeah.
Sick. Okay, the Minerva are strange beings, physically, mentally, and emotionally. They're fully formed. They're young adults, 20-something athletes, but their lives were fast-forwarded to this moment directly from their unnatural creation. They are literally their divine parents. Where'd I go? They're literally divine parents' legacies of lives, animated by the raw power of their ambition. Their desire to live on beyond themselves. They are thrust into this position headlong consigned to complete endlessly for their divine parents' glory, and upheld as figureheads to the divine parents' followers. They have the potential to be something more, something different, at least. If they can remember a life different than this, perhaps they can see another on the horizon. Before you can throw your Minerva into a compelling situation, you'll have to create them, giving them unique personalities and characteristics that distinguish them from one another. Character creation in Our Minerva is a group activity, and it serves to introduce you to a simple version of the gameplay concepts that will come up again later. To begin, deal each player a hand of 6 cards from a standard card deck, with the court cards taken out and set aside on their own pile. For the purposes of Our Minerva, the Fool, Joker, and Ace are considered court cards along with Jack, Queen, and King. Designate areas in front of each player from their hands, their discard, and their rail. Your hand and rails are rows of cards laid out face up on the table. Your discard is a single pile face down. For character creation only, every player shares the same rail. So it belongs to the center of the table. Choose a player to go first. They'll ask a question from the following pages and ask it to another player of their choice. These are personality questions that will tell us something about the first character you create together. I did it. I read.
Thank you. I'm dealing cards. I don't know if our tabletop is being streamed, but if it did, you might notice that I always get distracted when I'm dealing cards, and I will like give somebody 2 in a row and stuff. But everybody has 6, so
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna change my seat to just my name because we're not playing as our teams yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have this tabletop, and then you guys should have access to the character creation worksheet that I sent. This is where we'll keep track of what the questions we ask and the answers we choose. So as you can see on this worksheet, it's laid out to create any number of characters here. We would normally do 6 characters because we have two players that are coming in without teams. That's you two. And each person would get 3, and then you would draft them onto your team. Like I said, I think we'll just have each of you pick one character for your team. I did want to ask, do we want to create 2 characters and you each pick one, or create 3 so that you each like get a choice and one gets discarded essentially?
Let's do 2 for right now, and then if we're feeling good about the time, let's do a 3rd.
Okay, perfect. Yes, so starting with the first one, we'll just go down column B, filling out as we go. So like you read, you can go ahead and choose a player to go first, who will choose a question and ask it to another player of their choice.
Yeah, I'll ask a question to, I assume, Sarah. Clove, I believe
Sure.
You're bringing characters in from a previous game, right?
Yes. I'm bringing my team in that I've already created, which is something that the book encourages you to do. But for character creation, everybody at the table can participate, even if you already have your characters made. So just like whichever players are new will be the ones to draft at the end, but everybody gets to collaborate to bring the characters together. So yeah, so feel free to shoot questions to me when you want to.
Sick. And are these the questions off the PDF?
The questions are in the book, starting on the very next page, page 7.
7 and 8.
Okay, cool.
Yes, page 7 and 8.
Well, I'll ask Sarah first. Do you try to befriend your rivals and opponents, or do you try to keep things professional?
100% try to befriend.
And which number was that?
That's number 12.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, so we'll write down that question number 12 was asked, and that the orange answer was chosen.
Sick.
Do you guys have edit access to this page?
Great
Yes, we do.
question. Yes, I do.
Okay, cool. So we've chosen that answer, and so this tells us something about the personality of this first character that we're creating. And then the answering player, Sarah, chooses the answer they prefer for the character and chooses a card from their hand to move to the rail. This is called racking a card. The combination of the answer to the question and the suit of the card that you rack determines which tendency will be given to the character you're creating. Red suits tend to create constructive tendencies, where black suits tend to be destructive, and the heart-shaped suits tend to create tendencies that are self-focused, where the tendencies created by the other suits tend to focus on relationships with others. I sent you guys a little,
Yeah, the image, right?
Yeah. I sent you guys a little image of like the meanings of the suits, these are more relevant to the other phases of play, but I guess they're still good to consider because those are the same suits that the tendencies that we're giving this character will have. But yeah, so to summarize, diamonds are constructive to relationships. Red hearts are constructive to the self. Clubs are destructive to relationships, and spades are destructive to the self. So based on that, you can choose a card from your hand if you think, depending on what you think the flavor of this character's tendency to befriend rivals and opponents should be.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. So I choose from my hand, right?
Yep.
Yes.
I want to do the 4 of diamonds because I really like the idea that it is really driven by that, like building bridges, building allies, right? It's not necessarily about how this character sees themselves, but more how it can impact the broader community.
Awesome. Yeah, so that's perfect. And like Keegan read earlier, for this for character creation, our rail in the center of the table will all be shared. So this 4 is for all of us in the middle.
Nice.
So yes, and since that's diamonds, I'll write diamonds on our little worksheet. And then now you get to ask a question to someone of your choice. And it's fine if you guys prioritize asking each other questions, since, like you mentioned, we're not making characters for me, but feel free to tag me in if you want to ask me a question.
Yeah, no, Clove, I do want to tag you in. I'm
Okay.
asking question number 17. Do you practice one play 100 times or 100 plays once?
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna say 100 plays once for this character. So that's the blue answer to question 17. And let me look at my hand here. Obviously either of those answers could have like positive or negative connotations for the character. But I'm going to keep things positive. I'm going to say that's a self-constructive tendency and play my 8 of hearts to the rail. And then I will write down hearts on our little worksheet. I'll ask Keegan.
Yeah.
Question 31. If an opportunity seems too good to be true, do you take it before it's gone, or do you make sure you have ample time to evaluate?
I feel like, given what we know about this character so far, I feel like I'm going to take the blue answer here, and we're going to make sure we have ample time to evaluate.
Okay, cool. And there where you mentioned that, we're kind of getting a little bit of a picture of like who this character is.
Mm-hmm.
If we have any notes of like ideas that you're getting about their personality or anything, you can pop it in the notes cell on the worksheet, and that's just so that when we go to draft characters, we like remember who was who, if there were sort of things about them that we talked about,
Yeah.
I'm getting, yeah, I'm gonna throw this out here. I'm getting like kind of like a Leslie Nope vibes. Like I think that this person carries around a binder with all of those hundreds of plays and like all their contact cards in the binder and is kind of like flipping through it. And the reason that they need to take time to evaluate is they have to like read through their process diagrams of like so and so has done this, like proceed in these fashions. Very like
Yeah.
analytical, but not in an off-putting kind of way, in a very friendly way, almost like oh my gosh, let me check my binder, like that kind of a thing.
Yeah, go ahead and make a note about that in the note cell on column B.
And
And,
gonna go ahead and rack a card.
Yes.
And I'm gonna rack this 8 of diamonds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as you can see on our worksheet, questions 1 through 3 are like bolded down, and then there's like an optional fourth question. And the way that works is this is just sort of an extra little aspect of like tweaking this character as we're getting this picture of them. Keegan, you have the choice to either ask a fourth question if you think we need like more information about them in that way, and if you do, the character will have a fourth tendency, which they're kind of like tags that you can pull on for bonuses, but also every tendency has a skill tree that you can buy into. So it makes them more versatile in that way. Or if you decide we don't need a fourth question, the character will start with a stat bonus and an item instead.
Ooh, what a question. I think I'm going to skip asking a fourth question because I feel like we know who this one is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll for stat boost we'll put yes, and for thing, which is the item, we'll put yes, and we'll leave off the fourth question, and then we move on to the next character, which means after completing these steps, the character that just answered asks another question. Yeah, okay. So, Keegan, you get to ask the first question for character number 2.
Yeah, and this time I'm...
Oh, wait, sorry. I completely skipped a step. Sorry, I'm jumping around the book.
All good.
You're good.
Yeah, we... Question, complete steps for blah, blah, blah. Okay, yes, we actually have to jump to page 10 before we move on to the next guy. So we have to decide the character's auspice card, which is a little bit like a class. It's it basically it'll help decide what stat they get a bonus to, and it'll customize what kind of scenes they can choose later in the game. And this also introduces us to the court card building mechanic.
Yeah.
So that's the other cheat sheet that I sent you guys. The card mechanic basics. So basically, cards move from your hand to your rail in different ways, depending on the phase of the game. And then when they're in the rail, and you have control, again, that changes depending on the phase of play. You can add them together to make a court card. And you can choose as many or as few as you want, as long as you can add up to the value, the face value of the court card. So the Jack has a face value of 11, Queen 12, King 13, and Ace 14. and any sum higher than 14 can still be used to build the ace. The other thing to consider is that the suit of the court card is determined on the highest combined suit of the cards that you use to build it.
Okay.
And since you were the last person to answer a question, instead of asking a question, you get to build the court card.
Yeah, so it makes sense to me to combine that 8 of diamonds and that 4 of diamonds, which would give us a 12, which I believe is queen offhand.
Yes, that would give us the queen of diamonds. So I got to go through this unorganized face card deck, and there it is.
Perfect.
All right, so the 8 and the 4 will be discarded, and the way that the player who built the court card puts the cards used to build it into their discard. Yeah, so for player creation, you discard those 2 cards into your discard, which can just go beside your hand, face down. And then we place the court card on the center of the table, and then the other character we build cannot be the Queen of Diamonds, because we have it in play. And then the player who built the court card, blah, 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 asks the first question for the next Minerva. And this 8 stays in our rail if we want to use it to build when we build the court card of the next guy.
Cool. Well, Clove, I'll ask you for Minerva number 2. Ask number 16. Do you rep your divine parents as they wish to be presented, or do you push them to be better by changing public perception? Ooh,
that's a good one. I like the idea of getting a suck up character in there, so I'm going to say orange. Rep them as they wish to be presented.
Cool. So question 16, and the answer is orange.
Oh, sorry, I'm typing in the cell too.
No, you're fine.
My bad. Yeah, I should be choosing the card. I'll say, yeah, I'll say that's self-destructive. Why not?
That says
I mean,
something
it
about
tracks.
your parents. Yeah, Clove, I think that means it is up to you to ask the next question.
Yes. I'll do... Okay, I'll ask Sarah, number 8, when Coliseum cuts the budget, do you prove that you can make do, or do you find a way to make more?
Oh, this is a hard one. I would say find a way to make more. I'm going to go with blue. I kind of like the idea that because you're a suck up to your parent, it's kind of like that's fine. I'll just go like shine someone else's shoes and find the fun somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not just with the parent, it's kind of an overall personality trait.
Okay. I'll go set up a bake sale.
Right. And I'm gonna say that it's the 10 of Hearts. Like it is kind of like a driven from a sense of self, right? It's that fighting spirit of being willing to like do the thing on their own.
Absolutely.
And Sarah, that means you're asking question 3.
Ooh, Keegan. I'm gonna ask number 32. Do you confront media rumors head on or avoid scandals at all costs?
Yeah, I think we avoid scandal at all costs. I think the sort of suck-up character just, I'm writing notes, suck-up real
Love
fast.
it.
Yeah, I think we're just trying to stay out of that sort of attention. I think would be bad for us. But I I do want to say I think it's going to be. I'm gonna use this 4 of clubs because I think it is
Okay.
ultimately not always a great impulse.
Hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it looks like you are now in the seat again to choose to ask a fourth question or to build the auspice card.
That's right. Well, we didn't ask a 4th question last time, so I think we should this time.
Agreed.
Okay, Sarah, I'll ask you this time a question that I am reading in a moment.
Oh, the suspense is killing me.
The issue is these questions are all really good, right?
They
Thank
are.
you.
Um,
Thank you.
so I need to find the one that I feel like answers the most for me. Oh, here we go. Number 27. Do you rely solely on your team at all times, or do you temporarily join with others to take on a common opponent?
Ooh. Oh, that is a good one.
What number was that again?
Number 27.
Okay.
I think I want to go with blue, the temporarily join with others to take on a common opponent. Because again, like, I think this person has intrinsic visions of what they want, and it's not necessarily motivated by everybody else. Like, they have a strong sense of self. And so I'm going to do I have a clubs? Heck yeah, I do. I'm going to do the 3 of clubs. Again, so it's kind of like that disruptive and like rivalry kind of vibe
Yeah.
rather than like not openly antagonistic, but still.
Yeah, that's great. And so now you get to build the court card. And again, you can use as few or as many of these cards as you want, as long as you can add up to the face value of a court card.
Right. Let's see. I'm gonna have to do math. Rip.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do let's see. I want to do. And if I go above 14, does that mean I still choose the no?
It's still the ace, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what I want to do. I want to add all the black cards.
Okay. And so that's ace of spades? Oh, no.
Ace of clubs, right?
No, highest combined value. So that's 7
Okay.
versus 9.
Yeah, so still okay. Spades, got it.
Okay, was the ace of spades on these ones I already pulled aside?
I didn't see it.
Okay. I should have, there it is. I should have ordered the court card deck like I usually do, but...
And then I pull these to discard in my pile, correct?
Yes.
Nice.
Okay. And no stat boost for this character, no item for this character, because they have 4 tendencies. Awesome. I guess let's say we've got the 2 characters. Do you each feel like you have an inkling of which character you're drawn to for your team?
Keegan, I feel like this is pretty clean cut, but you tell me.
No, you tell me.
Okay, I feel like personality-wise, I am more leaning towards our Queen of Diamonds character, where Keegan would be our Ace of Spades.
You're saying
Correct me if I'm wrong.
my notes on me suck up maybe a bit of antagonist. Sarah, are you saying I'm antagonistic?
Well, I think that Keegan has the most fun playing games when they are openly antagonistic to other people. And I have more fun in games when I'm like collaborating and like nurturing a little village.
Yeah, no, that's the right call.
Okay. Yeah, then yeah, let's draft it that way. So the next step is to take what we have written down here on our worksheet and turn it into what tendencies these characters have. So if you look at the next set of pages, 11 through whatever, 18, 11 through 18, you're just going to be matching that to each question. So for our first character, first question was 12 orange diamonds. So we would go to the orange diamonds page, which is page 11, and we would go down to 12, and we would give them the tendency friendly, and then we would note beside that that's a diamonds tendency.
Okay, this rocks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to zoom through doing Minerva 2 while you all talk through doing Minerva 1, if that works best.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
the next
okay.
one would be the 17 blue hearts, which would be mercurial, which I feel like I know what that means, but what does that mean?
Let's consult the dictionary.
I know I'm like
I wrote this 2 or 3 years ago. Mercurial of a person subject to sudden or unpredictable changes of mood or mind, volatile, capricious, or fickle. Of or containing the element mercury is the other definition.
Love it.
And the thing about these, they can be interpreted however you want to a certain extent. Like one of the traits on here is, I don't know where it is, of course, but it's large, and that can be a physical trait, a personality trait. It can mean all sorts of stuff. So like, I'm just saying it's not necessarily 100% out of the realm of possibility that this also means of or containing the element mercury. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, so we would write down mercurial, and then note that it is a hearts tendency. And then our last one is 31 blue diamonds. So the blue diamonds page, question 31, is perceptive. And we would just note that that is a diamonds tendency. And that is our 3 tendencies for the Queen of Diamonds.
And I am done on my end as well. My 4 are submissive, presumably, and breedable.
Okay.
There
agile,
you go.
Dynamic, and varied.
Okay.
Just a fun combination.
Yeah. And like I said, the fun thing about this is each of these tendencies is not just a tag and a personality trait and like guiding it that way, but they also each have a skill tree in the back of the book. And I have no idea what the skill tree for any of these are because they're all completely different from each other. And there's like 200 of them. I don't know how many there are. 120 of them? I can't remember.
I just want to say real fast, Clove, this is so much work you did.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Like, an unbelievable amount of work done here.
It's a big book. It took me a while to put. Here's the physical book.
Yeah.
That you see how you can see the 2 halves of the book. That back half is the skill trees.
Oh wow.
So
okay.
Yeah.
Damn. As soon as it was like, okay, we have to get to the next set of pages, and each of them is a combination of color, suite, and number, and it was like, oh no, this is so much. Yeah,
not every single one is fully unique. Like I think each tendency is on here like 2 or 3 like between 1 and 4 times.
Okay.
But yeah, and I think I made the rarer ones have crazier skill trees too. So like you can see on the orange hearts page that the orange answer to question 4 or question 5 are both optimistic. Stuff like that. Just a little peek behind the curtain there, because as you can tell, this is sort of set up to obfuscate what answer you're going to get until you've gone through the whole process.
Yeah. That's a lot of fun, though. And also, significantly, because they show up a few times, it's not 288 skill trees, which is really what I was worried about.
Exactly, yeah. I can't remember how many. I should be able to look at the page numbers. It goes from page 136 to 255. So that's like 120.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Not so bad.
Only 120.
Yeah. Okay, so now that we've got the tendencies, we can jump to page 19 in the book. So as I described before, normally we would have 6 characters here, and you guys would take turns drafting them until you each had 3 of them. And then you would take those 3, and that would be your team. And each team of Minerva is also a trio of siblings. So by choosing your team, you're also choosing your divine parent. But for this game, we're just going to assume that your character does have 2 other characters that are on their team, and we're just not going to put the spotlight on them close enough to worry about what their personality or name or any of that is for now. So now we get to start. You guys each get to start making individual choices about your characters, starting with what team they're on. And I had a really fun thing to share about this. I wanted to show you guys I made a graphic showing what character creation choices were most common with all the groups I've played with. Oh, I wish I could find it to show you guys. I meant to queue this up.
I've seen this. I'm going to look for it while we talk, though.
Okay. Yeah. For now, I'll tell you my team that I'm bringing is the Brighthelm Paladins. So, probably don't pick the Paladins, although I have had things in games where we've basically talked about what the possibilities are for there being multiple sets of the team, whether it's the divine parent basically like intentionally like franchising multiple teams that are like sort of competing with each other to be like the team that gets their support, or we've got weird science fantasy stuff going on, so you can have different reality type stuff, different timeline stuff. So if you were like incredibly drawn to the Brighthelm Paladins, you were like, I want to have an alternate universe Brighthelm Paladins go against my Brighthelm Paladins, you can. But there are however many other teams there are to choose between.
I have already chosen my team.
Oh shit!
Because I scrolled a little bit down and went, "Hey, that's the one." Immediately.
Okay.
So I'm playing the Vegas High Rollers.
God
Okay.
damn it! How did I know?
I was scrolling down and I saw untrustworthy demeanor and was like, "That's it."
Done.
Sarah, are you drawn towards a specific team?
Yeah, I'm reading through them right now. I feel like I'm kind of torn here because I kind of love the idea of going with the Black Falcons.
I found the graphic. Hold on. If you want to let this influence any of your choices.
Oh, excellent.
Hell yeah.
It's I'm sending it to the Discord.
Sick.
There it is.
Putting it on the stream.
Awesome. So yeah, as you can see, these are all pretty small numbers. I've only played with like 11 different people or something. But yeah,
No one's ever been an Orbreaker is what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, no one has ever played the Ore Breakers. Very sad for
That is sad.
their divine parent.
Yeah, rip. Let me see. Let me read through them. Let's see.
Oh yeah, their divine parent is Ore Breaker, of course.
You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go with it. Let's do the Ore Breakers.
Hell yeah.
Okay, cool. So once you have your team, you'll choose a name for each character. Of course, you can do this in any order. Choose a name for each Minervum. You can choose from the suggested names list or create your own. Every team has suggested names that are like of a very different style from one another.
Yeah.
So that can be fun to play with. And then decide their pronouns, and you can start filling this stuff out on the team keeper that I sent you guys. You can see there's little tabs at the bottom where you can start putting your team, and you can look at my tab if you have trouble parsing where you're supposed to write stuff down.
I am gonna steal one of these names. I'm gonna go with Cartwright Penny Farthing.
Okay.
Because what a name.
Yeah, I'm very fond of all of the naming conventions, but like the high rollers were really funny to do.
Yeah, it took me a second to be like, oh, because they roll, which is really fun. Pronouns, we're gonna go with they, them. Yeah, that's perfect.
And so once you've got a name and pronouns, consider the 3 categories of traits associated with the members of your team, and choose one trait from the 9 listed that applies to all 3 siblings on your team, and then choose one additional trait for each of them. So if we're looking at the high rollers here, you can see that their 3 categories of traits are lucky, untrustworthy demeanor, and charming, quote-unquote, flaw. And those break down into 9 specific traits.
Cool.
So you're choosing one trait that Penny Farthing has that all of their siblings have, and then you're choosing one trait that Penny Farthing has that their siblings don't.
Yeah. So, let me see. My unique trait. Yeah. Cool. And for the unique traits, is it supposed to be one of the ones that is broken down a little further, or is it supposed to be one of the?
Yes, they're both supposed to be one of the 9 specific traits. They're just grouped into 3 categories.
Okay, I got you.
Yes.
Cool. So my shared trait with the family is going to be Silver Tongue, and my unique trait is going to be always avoids major injuries by a hair.
Okay. Awesome. What are we looking at for our Ore Breaker?
Great question. So I'm going with Erosion Mac as the name for this character.
I love that.
Are she, they.
All right.
Office card, Queen of Diamonds. Her unique trait is they are supernaturally good at holding your drink. And the shared trait, I want to have never fall ill.
Okay, awesome. And then Choose an aspect of your parents' legacy that influences your actions, and note down the basic habit for that aspect. So, again, I'll just look at the high rollers here. The high roller's divine parent is Trip and C, and so there's 3 different aspects here that could all be true about the reputation of that divine, but you're choosing the one that sort of most influences the way that Penny Farthing like holds themselves and interacts with the world. So you could be choosing that you're most influenced by your parents' reputation as a savvy businessman, an unscrupulous con man, or a powerful loan shark.
Ooh. I think I am most influenced by them being an unscrupulous con man. I have a
Okay.
preference.
So then you would note down that your basic habit is to give trust out of naivete. And for the ore breakers, we're deciding if erosion, that was the name, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is most influenced by ore breakers' reputation as being an exploiter of labor, a savior to the commons, or a legendary craftsman.
You know, I picked a savior to the commons, but I think I want to switch. I want to do a legendary craftsman. Like as I was thinking through it.
And so that means that erosion gets the basic habit of break something well constructed.
I kind of love the idea that while erosion's very good at holding your drink, they are also very clumsy.
Yeah. I like the way that goes with the name too.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
And then which of these characters was the it was erosion that gets a stat bonus and a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing I picked was a key ring filled with tags, keychains, and trinkets. Again,
Awesome.
I kind of like the idea that they're gathering like information about people, but also like little calling cards, whether it's trinkets or gifts or whatever, from their interactions that they've had with people in the past.
Cool. And then your stat boost will match your auspice card. So on the sheet where you see diamonds, clubs, hearts, spades under your character's name, you can set diamonds to a permanent 1.
Awesome.
And all the others and all of the ones for Penny Farthing should be 0.
Cool.
And the stats are something that you can take actions to boost during an arc of the game, and then they reset except for any permanent bonuses you accrue from character creation or other means.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. And then of course, so be sure to copy your tendencies onto this Team Keeper sheet. Excuse me, with a note of what suit they each are, and then that should be about it for that section of character creation. But of course, as we're going through, if you want to play with the Picrew portrait maker for your character, feel free. I know we are on a stream timeline, so
If
perhaps
you don't
not
think
the.
I'm going to do this in the middle of a stream, I have another
Oh my
thing
gosh.
coming.
Okay.
Megan's more talented than I am. I gotta send it.
I'm just gonna keep talking as I go though, because
Okay.
who I am. So what comes next?
Next. So now that we have sprung forth fully formed, we get to jump into our first arc. So I think I mentioned that we're doing an abbreviated arc. Normally, an arc of the game is. Oh, did we lose Sarah?
Oh no, we did lose Sarah. Let's just keep going, and hopefully Sarah comes back. Frequently, she's just frozen, but she can still hear us.
Okay. Yeah. So normally an arc we'll have 3 scenes set in sport, and then 3 scenes between those set in either town or duty. Because we're doing an abbreviated arc for this stream, we're going to do 1 sport scene and 1 town scene, and that'll wrap our arc. Do we have Sarah back?
Yeah, Sarah's here again.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Awesome.
A little bit of a hiccup.
No worries. So yeah, we start each arc with a sport scene. Sarah, do you want to read from page 37? This is what you were made for.
Yes, let it load for me. Page 37. This is what you were made for. Electricity in the air, the roar of the crowd in your ears, your divine parents' legacy on the line. You can almost feel the impossible bulk of the Colosseum slip beneath your feet, just an inch closer to the black hole it was built in defiance of. This is the center of the galaxy. Here's the setup. A massive arena split into identical zones, one for each team. They radiate from the center like evenly spaced spokes on a wheel. Myriad obstacles, terrain features, and pathways dot the playing field. In the heart of each zone, a single goal, nearly impossible to defend were it not for the difficult terrain. The object: earn points by scoring on other teams' goals, and avoid losing points by having goals scored on you. To accomplish this, you'll run, kick, throw, and otherwise pass the ball across the arena, utilizing tackles, body checks, and general full contact in a frenzied melee of offense, defense, and zone control. On top of it all, you're playing with tiny teams, and there's a hell of a lot of ground to cover. Luckily, you're the children of gods.
Awesome. So yeah, on the next page, we talk about how the in-universe rules of sport are laid out loosely here. There's lots of room for interpretation. Because as we play through the sports scene, we don't have to zoom in, play by play, going through an entire detailed like radio broadcast of a baseball game. We're just jumping around to the important moments of conflict and focus as progress is made or lost, and as we're following the drama around the stadium. This also means we can fill in game rules if we want to through play, designing creative strategies and loopholes for your Minerva to exploit without getting bogged down in pages of rules minutia. So you'll see when we get to like describing our actions, keeping in mind that it's very open in that way will help you make your moves during sport. So we can move on to page 39. When you begin a new arc, you choose one of your Minerva to spotlight. You cannot choose the same Minerva from 2 arcs in a row, but the order is otherwise up to you. Your spotlighted Minerva is one of the protagonists for the given arc. We focus only on their specific actions in sport, though other Minerva on your team will be mentioned in passing as you describe plays, and only they will appear in town and duty scenes. So this is what I was talking about. It's okay for for each of you to only have one character at the moment because we only focus on one character each game, and we assume that the Ore Breakers and the High Rollers both have a team of 3, but we don't put the camera on them as we tell the story of this sports scene. And as I mentioned, I am bringing a team that I've previously made, and so I will have to choose a character out of 3. And I think I'm going to go... my team is the Brighthelm Paladins, as I mentioned. Their divine parent is named... they played then a mournful song, a funeral dirge whose melancholy chords shattered the poor sinner's heart and freed him from his chains. Sinner's heart, for short. And all of the siblings have hair that flows as if in wind. And I'm going to be playing as the team captain, Mercy's Edge. Mercy's pronouns are Zir. Z is the king of clubs, and Zir unique trait is that Z has elfin features. The aspect of Sinner's Heart's reputation or legacy that reflects on Zir is Sinner's Heart is known as a chosen hero, which means Mercy's basic habit is to shirk Zir responsibility. And they have a +1 to clubs. They have a thing, which is an aluminum baseball bat with a faded logo. And their tendencies are enchanting, which is clubs, dishonest, which is clubs, and proactive, which is hearts.
Sick.
So that's my character introduction added on to y'all's. And this is a good time to note, I suppose, if you're looking at your team keeper or just like keeping track of what we've put together for each character. The item that you chose as your thing is will come up in the rules text during town, but does not appear in the sports scene where we start. And then, as we're keeping track of stuff as we play, on your team keeper, you'll see a section called Other Minerva, and it says Edit per session. So we can fill in each other on this. So I will put on Other Minerva, I'll put Cartwright Penny Farthing. And Erosion Mac.
Great.
And those suit symbols that appear next to that section, those will also come up in town. And then, yeah, that's about what we need. So we've chosen our Minerva, and now we're gonna set up.
You said it. You said the title.
Oh my god, I didn't even
shit.
realize. I said the thing. Yeah. Now we have to set up the board. So let's recall and shuffle our cards. And I will once again deal 6 cards to each player, and hopefully I'll do it correctly this time.
This time, everyone's watching you do it, so
Uh-huh.
no pressure.
It's different.
Yep. And you'll note in the book that there is an alternative method for dealing the hands which I do like to do when we have a little more time, or for like players who are already familiar with the system, where we separate the deck into suits and then draft cards out of it, so you get to like choose how much of each suit you want in your hand.
Oh, that's cool.
But I don't think it really makes sense to do when you're just being introduced to the game. Okay, that is 6 each, and I didn't double dip.
Woohoo!
Yeah, and yeah, I'll change my player name up here to the character I'm playing. Awesome. Did I type that right? Oh, crap. Yeah. Can you make this bigger? You can't. Whatever. Yeah, so we've got cards. Our rail and our discard begin empty, and this time, unlike character creation, we each have our own rail. So when we rack a card, instead of all sharing a spot in the middle, we have our own little rails in front of our hands.
Baby.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. The last player to draw a card chooses which arena this arc will take place in. So I think I gave Sarah a card last. So, if you look at page 40 through 44, you can choose between Arena Arbor, Arena Brimstone, Arena City, Arena Desert, and Arena Event. Oh, Keegan did their
Yeah.
pick row.
Yeah.
I did it on stream in front of everyone.
Oh, hell yeah.
I was like, what gives sort of obnoxious little rich guy? And it was like a blonde little flop.
I love it.
No shit.
Very cool.
There, what do you think of?
For the arena,
Yeah.
let's do arena. It's hard to choose. Let's do Arena City.
Okay. Arena City. Pillars of steel and concrete jut forth from the earth like spears to pierce the sky. A compact metropolis, a mess of tangled streets and mismatched architecture, made treacherous by the automobiles that whiz by at a breakneck pace. A place made of corners and alleys and holes, overdesigned, overcrowded, and overwhelming. You never know where your opponents are coming from or where they're going next. I did not remember writing the sentence, a place made of holes. But there you have it. And you can also see on page 42 that the contextual questions for Arena City, which we'll get to how these work in gameplay, are: where are you hiding? What draws you around the corner? How do you use sound to your advantage? What's clever about this piece of architecture? How do you get overwhelmed? How do you get your head back in the game? What's coming down the street? And who left their mark here?
Sick.
So, we've got our characters. We've got our arena. And now we choose our character's disposition for the start of the scene to give us an initial foothold on the character's mental state going into each set of the match. I'm thinking for like narrative setup here that since we're doing just one sports scene and then one town scene, and then you like wrap each pair of scenes by going back to the like final score in sport. I think we should frame this, since Our Minerva is very much a game about like people who are constantly living their life in media res, you know? So I think we should frame this as like, this is the last not quarter, because there's three of them. I always forget the word. The last section of the game, and it's like, we're in a situation where it's all tied up and it's coming down to the last set. Is that the word? Yeah.
We'll roll with it. It works for us.
Yeah. So to determine disposition in this situation, look at your hand. Figure out which suit carries the highest combined rank. So for me, that's clubs, because I have a 2 and an 8, and that's 10. That's higher than the 9 that I have in spades and the 9 that I have in hearts.
Yeah, for me, that's going to be clubs, because I have a 9, a 7, and a 3 in it. Bringing me to a 19 clubs.
Wow.
Spades for me with 18.
And then on page 45, look at the disposition chart, and whichever suit you had, look at that row, and then whatever auspice your character is, look at that column. So
sad. No.
So Mercy's Edge is the king. So I'm looking at the king column and the club row. So I can be disappointed, indebted, or abandoned going into this final set of the match. I'm gonna choose disappointed, because Mercy's Edge is like a real asshole who like really gets on your team when the team isn't like doing well. So I think that's why I'm going with disappointed, because even though we're all tied up, it's like we should have pulled things together better at this point. We shouldn't be coming down to like one score to decide the match. So Mercy's Edge is disappointed. What about Cartwright?
Yeah, I think so. This brings me to Ace of Spades, so I can be crestfallen, discouraged, or gloomy. And I think I'm actually feeling pretty crestfallen. I imagine the case here is that Cartwright has made some bad bets on how this match.
Oh no! You're betting on your own matches?
I'm betting on my own matches. It's the thing my parents would do.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
And not only is the match not going the way I wanted, but it also means my bets aren't going very well. And I am crestfallen.
And erosion.
So I have spades and queen, so I could either be distressed, alone, or hateful. And I'm going to say alone, just in that I was separated from my team, and I'm trying to make my way back, figure out how the heck I'm going to do that.
Awesome. So yeah, that should give us a good like narrative starting place for how each of us are moving into this scene. So we've got a little bit of writing here about how the game is a conversation. We use our procedures to constrain and direct the conversation, share the spotlight with each other. It's up to us how much detail, dialogue, and narration we bring to each step of the procedure. And there's no penalty for talking out of turn. And we should treat this as a collaborative effort to make decisions together at the right moments and paint this tapestry together. That said, at any given moment of play, one character will have the mechanical responsibility of driving the narrative forward. This player is called the drive. The player to the left of whoever chose the arena is the drive at the beginning of the new arc. So to the left, that means it's
yeah, that should be
Keegan. Yes.
Yeah.
The drive will focus their attention mainly on one other player for the time that they hold narrative momentum. This player is called the spot, And the spot is chosen by the drive whenever they become the drive. Every time you become the drive, you pick a new spot. So basically, every narrative beat, one person is like taking an impetus, and they're like pulling on one other player for the main like conflict or movement of that narrative beat.
Yeah. Perfect.
So, Keegan, on page 47, begin your turn as drive by asking the spot a question from the default sports question list or the list provided by the current arena. And you can see the default sports questions.
Yeah. Or the
And we yes. Go ahead and read out all of the sport questions.
Yeah.
So that we have an idea of them.
Yeah, so the sport questions are, what are you feeling right this second? Where are you focusing your attention? What are you afraid of? How does the crowd catch your attention? What is your strategy right now? How are you striving to improve? Who is your biggest threat? And what is pushing you to win?
So yeah, choose one of us and ask one of those questions or one of the Arena City questions. And the question and answer can be either in character or out, and the drive and the spot can both add details as they wish. So we already have like a bit of an idea. We know where we are. We know what each of like our emotional states are, and when you like jump into each turn, you can add as much or as little narration as you feel it like needs to move things forward. So yeah, who will you be choosing as spot for this first turn?
Yeah, I think Mercy's Edge is the spot for this first turn.
Okay.
And yeah, we'll just get right into it. So I'll ask the question. What is your strategy right now?
Okay. What is my strategy right now? I think my strategy right now is that okay, my like I said, I'm kind of pissed and disappointed in my team. We're not like failing. We've gotten to this point. My team is doing competently. I can trust them to be competent, but my strategy right now is to like be the one making moves as much as possible. They can hold up the sort of baseline, and I'm like, I want like hands on the ball as much as possible. I want to like take control because I don't know if these guys can get it done in the last set. So that is Mercy's strategy right now. So the answer to this question helps bring details into the scene, and you can all expand upon them by describing your character's actions and feelings. And ultimately, this narration builds to the drive making an approach. An approach is a significant play by the drive that targets the spot. There are 16 templates for an approach, each keyed to a suit. So on page 48, Keegan, you will see the 16 approaches. And the sort of highlighted words in the approach give you like a spot to be like, here's where you might want to add more narration. Like give us details on what exactly it is, like what this looks like. And then they each end with a question to the spot.
Yeah.
And we'll like work through it as we do it, but to successfully make your approach, you will need to play a card of that suit. So just noticing that your hand has no hearts in it right now, I wouldn't look at the hearts approaches.
Yeah.
If I were you.
So I'm between two things. I'm just talking out loud while I try to figure them out. So I lock up your teammate in my defenses while you're needed elsewhere. Do you rush to help, or do you think sort of like twice of the strategy?
Okay. Lock up your teammate while you're needed elsewhere. Okay. Do you have any like specific scene painting you want to do here of what you're doing to try to get me to rush to my teammate in error?
Yeah, I think I've gotten my teammates to sort of disrupt, because we're in Arena City, so there's cars sort of zooming around. And I think I've gotten my teammates to sort of disrupt traffic and sort of get cars driving towards your teammate. Now, they can probably get out of the way in time, but it's going to be tight.
Okay, yeah, yeah, I think I know what I want to do, but let's see how the cards look. So when you make an approach, describe what your Minerva does, adding detail to the bolded parts of the template. Then choose a card from your hand that matches the suit of the approach and show it to the spot. So this is the card that you're trying to get into your rail. You're trying to rack this card, and you score in sport by building a court card, as we saw. So you want to get high value cards in your rail. The flip side to that is, if you look at page 49, the higher value a card is, the easier it is to counter. So if you play that 9, I only need a value of 3 to counter you.
Okay.
So that should influence your choice here.
So I might actually want to play a lower value card. Is what
Potentially.
I'm getting here. Yeah, actually, I might play this 3 instead.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So I'm definitely choosing the second option in the question, which is use your better judgment. And since that's the emphasized option, that's the one that, like, I have to play cards if I want to do that and stop you. So Mercy's Edge is going to try to counter this. I think that Z's thinking, based on what I said my strategy was, I'm like, they can handle it. I gotta leave it in their hands. If they get hit by a car, they're probably gonna be fine. We're demigods here. They made it this far in the match. It's not gonna super disadvantage our team if they take an injury. So I'm eyes on the prize with this one. So to counter, you played a 3, so I can either play 9 cards worth of value to hard counter and stop your play immediately, or I can under counter and give you the chance to either have to spend more of your cards or to let me stop your play. And I think that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to under counter because you played a 3. I don't want to play 9 cards worth of value. I'm going to under counter with my 4 of hearts. So the way this works is when the spot under counters, the drive can play another card or multiple cards with their ranks summed that exceeds the rank of the card I played by at least 1. This is called upping the ante. And we can go back and forth until one of us gives up. So if you want to rack this 3, you have to expend at least 5 value worth of cards to defeat my counter.
Yeah. Well, knowing that, and knowing I have a 5 right here, I'll go ahead and play that 5.
Okay. And now, if I still want to stop you, I have to play 6 cards worth of value. I think I'm not going to do it. I'm going to let you pull through. I think that Mercy's Edge is, like I said, eyes on the prize. But then, maybe I see, another car coming in the direction that my teammate could dodge into, and I like hear them cry out, and I'm like, oh fuck, I actually have to help here. And I go pull them out of the way and let the ball move away from us. So what that means is that the cards that we like countered and upped the ante with, we discard those to each other. So I give you the 4 and you give me the 5. And then you get to rack the 3.
Oh, cool.
Because you succeeded. So yeah. And then we're like running through these rules, we're at like page 50 in the book. It notes that if you ever don't want to make an approach, you can pass your turn, and there's a few different actions you can do. And then a couple of pages later, on page 52, it talks about during sport, certain actions earn you a currency called brio. You earn brio when you do any of the following. Approach with a card rank 6 or greater, under counter, up the ante, prevent the drive from racking, rack a card, or score. So I undercountered once in that exchange, so I get 100 brio, and you upped the ante and you racked a card, so you get 300 brio, and you can pop that on your character sheet on the left where you see brio.
Yes.
And basically when you can at any time, but especially when like the play is being made between the other players, you can go to your skill trees in the back of the book for your tendencies and spend that brio to buy skills from the skill tree.
Cool. I also see there's this thing about stamping your cards, which
Yes.
I assume is going to be too difficult to pull up on screen. But
Yes,
because it sounds cool.
Absolutely. I did have a way to set this up digitally, but when I saved out my my setup for the virtual tabletop, it did not save my custom cards out.
No
On your tendencies, each skill on the skill tree is called a mode. Some modes will allow you to stamp a card with a special symbol that changes the way you interact with it and play. Each stamp goes on 1 pip of the card, so the card can hold as many stamps as its value is. And whenever an effect allows you to stamp a card, you can pay 300 brio to stamp it with a different stamp instead. And page 133 details what all the stamps do. Basically, they're things like this card counts as double its rank when you build a court card, or this card cannot be affected by other players' abilities that would redirect where you're trying to put it. When you rack this card, pull 1 card out of your discard. Stuff like that. There's a bunch of different ones.
Yeah.
And then on the next page, what we can see here, that if stamping comes up on the abilities that you buy off of your tendencies, since we don't have the custom playing cards right now, it says, in some cases, you may wish to play Our Minerva without marking up a deck of playing cards, like when playing over the internet. For these cases, consider using this alternate stamp rule, which is called emblems. Whenever a rule tells you to stamp a card, take an emblem of that symbol instead. Emblems are a single-use resource that you can track on your reference sheet or in simple notes. Like with stamps, you can spend 300 brio to obtain a different emblem than the rule specifies. You can spend an emblem according to its effect at any time, removing it from your stash of emblems and applying its effect as detailed below. So these are basically sort of the same thing that the cards do, but rewritten to just be little single-use abilities that you stash up and then use. So that they sort of become like little consumable items instead of being attached to the cards that we move around.
Yeah, that's cool.
So And the thing with the stamps and your skill trees and all that is that like you can engage with it as much or as little as you want. Essentially, it's almost sort of like a mini game that you can do while other things are going on, and then you can pull in the abilities that you get as you do engage with it. So yeah. And then the very next page, 135, just clarifies a little bit more about what some of the rules text on your skill trees mean. And page 132 clarifies like how you unlock the skills. But like I said, that's sort of something you can do in the background as plays are being made. And if you choose to like spend Brio and do that, then the next time it comes around to your turn, or the next time that the skill you bought becomes relevant, we can bring it up and talk about it.
Cool.
Okay, so that's awesome. I've lost my place in the rules text. Give me just a second.
No worries. I think we were around 50 somewhere.
Yeah, my PDF viewer is frozen.
Oh no.
It's okay, I'm reloading. I think we should be all right.
Cool.
All right, so yes, awesome. Okay. So Keegan got to rack her card. We tallied up the Brio, and then play continues. So the spot becomes the drive, and picks a new spot. So I'm the drive for this turn. I'll make erosion the spot, and I will ask a question of erosion. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna go with the classic. What are you feeling right this second?
Confused. I think that we had a plan coming in. It was going well enough. Like, we're not winning, we're tied up, but like we're not losing either. And I'm not really sure how I ended up by myself. And I'm trying to figure out how the hell that even happened.
Where did my siblings go?
Yeah, like we had a plan. Where'd they go?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Arena City being very sort of labyrinthine, so it's a good question. Awesome. Let me look at my approaches.
They're at the bodega getting sandwiches the Aki way.
There you go. There you go.
That's the instead of having like sponsors like around the like edges of the baseball field, it's just like straight up like stuff in the city. There's just like stores and billboards and stuff.
I like the idea that this is less an arena and more we're just playing in the middle of New York City.
Yeah. Okay.
Just send a bunch of cars towards Times Square.
I'm gonna do the heart approach. I get back up after being terribly outplayed. Do I redeem myself or do you beat me back down? So I think what this looks like is obviously I just failed the play against Cartwright. I had to like jump to get my sibling out of the way of the car, and then there's probably all these more speeding cars, and we're having to like hop over like a guardrail and like end up like ducking into an alley, and now we're like so far away from where we were trying to like direct the ball and like move play. And then I think what does this look like? I think I see you in like an adjacent alleyway. I see erosion, and I see that you're sort of like looking for your team, and then my sibling that I like pulled over here calls out to me that she sees like the other direction, sees one of your teammates, and so you guys are like about to like be possibly able to like link back up and like match numbers with us.
Yeah.
And so I'm basically going to attempt to like misdirect you and like lead you away from the action while my team regroups.
Right.
So I'm playing the 5 of hearts, and the question is, do I redeem myself by succeeding at leading you away, or do you beat me back down? And we'll talk about what that looks like if you counter. So if you look at page 49.
Yeah. So it says like 7 to counter. If I played 8, would that counter or does it have to be the 7?
No, it just has to be at least the number. If you play at least that number, you immediately stop my play. But like we saw with when I was countering Keegan, if you play less than that number, then we enter a back and forth where either of us could win. And you don't have to play a single card. You can add cards together. So like if instead of playing your 8, if like, if I really want to have like hearts in my deck, you could be like, I'm going to play this 6 and this 4 instead.
Right. I'm going to go ahead and play my 8 of spades, because I think the way that this happens is I feel like you're stressed, right? You're disappointed, you're let down, you had an idea, it went to shit, you see me, and you're like, oh, I'm going to trick erosion. And I just like get so excited to see you because I'm alone and you're the first person that I've seen. And I just like start chatting you up like, oh my God, where I have not seen another person in like 20 minutes. What even is going on?
I thought the game was over.
I thought the game was over.
I can't see the stands anymore. I can't see it.
Just start like talking at you, and in this desperate attempt of like, it just like wears you down. Like you realize you're not going to get a word in edgewise, because I'm just inundating you with information, helpful and non-helpful alike.
All right.
And I still have this keychain that you gave me. Like, look, like pulling out the trinkets of like remembering our good times. This is just like that one game we were playing.
Oh my God. Yes, I don't get to rack my 5. I give that to your discard, and I take.
And I discard this to you, right?
Yes.
Got it.
And then let's look at our brio here. You prevented me from racking, so take 200 brio.
Nice.
And then you become the drive.
Right. The spot is definitely going to be Keegan.
Hell yeah.
Let's see.
Describe a scene. Ask a question.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pick the question. Where are you focusing your attention?
I think I have focused my attention on some of your teammates who were like briefly here but got chased off before you saw them. And I'm trying to just make sure you all stay sort of broken up a little bit. Because I think me and my teammates are sort of in a good spot, it feels like.
Gotcha.
And then, so
I'm
you
gonna
can
pick an approach.
Yes.
I would like to. Let's see. Yeah, I'm still separated from my team. I'm going to do a heart approach of ignoring the effects of a grievous disadvantage, that being that I just have no flippin' idea where my team is. Can I power through, or do you make me hurt?
Yeah, and you're playing that 8 of heart there?
The 8 of hearts, yeah.
Oh, right. So I have to counter with at least a
Mm-hmm.
Or explain to me. I know we.
You can. Yeah, you can also just straight up not counter if you don't want to spend any of your cards, and
Oh no.
and then that means that the other person succeeds. But did you want to hear about the like under countering mechanic again?
Yeah, that's the part I'm missing out.
Yeah. So if you counter with less than 4 value of cards, like if you had a 3 or a 2, then that gives erosion the chance to enter a back and forth with you where until one of you gives up and stops spending your cards, it's like up in the air if you're going to stop the play or if the play is going to go through.
Okay. Otherwise, I can just counter with a number bigger than the 4 I would need to counter with.
Mm-hmm. At least 4. It doesn't have to be bigger than 4.
Yeah. Okay. In that case, I'm gonna counter with this 9.
Okay.
Because I have very high cards in my hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's a hard counter. So that was yeah. Tell us how you make erosion hurt.
Yeah. So
And you can discard those cards to each other.
Oh, cool. I know.
Yeah, keep your 3 in your discard. Yeah, yes. That's great.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So the question was, I ignore the effects of the grievous disadvantage. Can I power through? Did you make me hurt? Yeah, I don't let you forget that you're alone. And I think some of that is that Cartwright begins actually taunting you. I know you're a very talky player, and I'm a very obnoxious player. So I think I'm doing like the big anime, like, oh, you're all alone now. Really hamming it up for a camera that isn't there.
I mean, it might be. There's probably like little drones going around putting stuff on the Megatron for the audience.
Hell yeah! I'm not even looking at you. I'm talking directly to camera. Yeah, but I'm not gonna let you forget that you're alone and that I'm here with all of my siblings, and we're gonna kick your ass. And then we just,
all right.
We do some more sports balling.
Yeah.
There you go.
And you're the drive.
Woohoo! Yeah, actually, I'm gonna reverse the direction we're going. I'm immediately going to spotlight erosion again.
Let's go.
Yeah, always feel free to like keep a back and forth going if that's the way the momentum seems to go.
Yeah.
Because there's benefits and disadvantages to choosing whose hand you're like spending up and stuff.
Yeah. I'm going to ask, how do you get your head back in the game? Which is one of the Arena City questions.
In this moment, I was pretty excited because I saw a familiar face. And I was feeling really good, but after you taunted me so thoroughly, I got really upset, and I like teared up and probably like started to cry a little bit. But to get my head back in the game, she will just slap the sides of her face really, really hard, and you'll see little handprints that will be on her cheeks as she shakes it off and clears her head and renews like she's never alone, like her friends are in her heart or something equally cheesy.
Hell yeah. So I'm gonna take the approach. God, one of these feels good. So I use prior knowledge to predict your next move. Is my research accurate, or do you defy my expectations?
Ooh.
Oh, and I'll put down a 7 of I know the names of cards.
Clubs.
Clubs. I was like, of cloves, and I was like, shit, that's not right.
So
I'm going.
the hard counter value of that is 5.
Yeah. Yeah. Screw it. I defy your expectations. I'm sending it. We're playing a big card.
Hell yeah.
Okay. So yeah, discard the 7 and 10 to each other, and tell us what that looks like.
What did you think was going to happen?
Yeah, I thought, I think this is still some of my last bit of move here. I really thought, that, taunting you this way would just sort of, you would just sort of give up and, give me the game, and I think
Good lord.
it feels like that is probably not the case here, is that you found some, you found a strength I didn't know you had.
Can I ask what prior knowledge do you have about erosion that made you think they were
Ooh.
going to straight up break down?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm zooming over to Erosion's card real fast. Yeah, so I think I've seen Erosion play for a while. And they seem to always... they don't usually seem to be, like, the star player on the team. And she really heavily depends on her teammates and sort of fumbles frequently when it is... Or at least, according to my research, and who knows how good that is, seems to fumble frequently when left to their own devices. And I thought I could just really exploit that in this way.
All right. And you could not.
I could not.
Yeah.
So so what does that look like, Sarah? What does it look like when you defy those expectations?
I think as Cartwright is doing their villain monologue at Erosion and sort of like really trying to break her down to the smallest components, right? Erosion does the cheek slap and kind of like shakes herself, gets her head back in the game. And she's just going to run straight ahead. Like, not like zero thoughts, like pure, just it will sort itself out energy. And is going to just run in a straight line. I imagine that she kind of like explodes over a food cart or like newspaper stand or something like that, and everything goes flying. My cabbages, and she like just by getting that distance away, she starts calling out for her team members like out loud. I think like the idea was to get her to isolate and to get them to break down and feel it, but the opposite, where she just starts, and I think they start yelling, "Cartwright's hurting my feelings." And just shows vulnerability in the face of oppression.
Great. I can't remember if on the last turn if I noted this, but I just want to make sure I keep pinging at it that for that turn, Erosion gets 200 brio, and Cartwright gets 100 for approaching with a card rank 6 or greater.
Sick.
And Erosion is now the drive.
Okay, I think I am going to put Mercy's Edge as the spot here. And I'm going to ask, who is your biggest threat?
Okay. I mean, I think the honest answer is that Mercy's Edge biggest threat is yourself at this moment. Like, not that Z would like admit that, but it says you have to answer the question honestly. So out of character, it's Zir. Z just doesn't like have your head where it needs to be right now. Two failed plays in a row after coming into this set feeling already disappointed. So I think if Z doesn't like get your head on straight and start figuring out how to properly cooperate with your teammates instead of being like, I need to do everything while they hold up the baseline. It's gonna implode for Zir. So yeah, I think that is your biggest threat.
Okay. I'm going to use a diamond approach where I make myself vulnerable because I know my team has my back. Does my faith pay off, or do you shatter our coordination? And the way that I think I see this playing out is I'm running through the city screaming how Cartwright hurt my feelings. And I reach, like, I find I'm still by myself. I don't know where my team is, but I see you kind of making moves, getting more coordinated, getting more ready. And I recognize that like you and your team probably have some sort of play, but I'm going to throw myself in the middle of that, knowing that I'm outnumbered and therefore vulnerable, to try and mess up the play.
Okay. All right, so that 6. So I need at least 6 if I'm gonna hard counter. I think based on what I set up from my answer to the question, I think I sort of like I need the win here. So I'm going to spend this 9 of spades.
Oh,
I'm getting rid of a source of self-destruction there, as spades are, and yeah, I'm hard countering that. So you can take that to your discard.
Excellent. I'll discard this in yours.
And
yeah,
then
do I get 100 because I played a 6?
Yes. And I get 200 for winning the exchange.
Nice.
I think what that looks like. So you're throwing yourself in where you're outnumbered. Your team has your back. I think what it like has to look like is that when Mercy's Edge attempts to counter this, it's Zir counting on counting on Zir team 2 to like that. That's the only way. The only way to overcome your teamwork is to lean into the teamwork that I've been eschewing because I thought I didn't need it. So I think this might be like kind of a scuffle here. Like we can like maybe we've like come to a point where we like see the ball like bounce off a windshield of a car and it's like shooting down the street, and we're sort of like our two teams are sort of colliding as we like come out of like alleyways and move towards it. And Mercy's Edge like goes straight for erosion and like sweeps her leg or something, and then one of your teammates comes to tackle Mercy, but one of Mercy's teammates is there to like help pick Zir up real quick, and then like our third teammate is the one who's actually chasing the ball, which is what Mercy's Edge didn't want to let go of, being the one who was like doing the play. So yeah,
I like it.
And I'm gonna throw back to you. I think I'm gonna put you as the spot since Cartwright already has a card racked. I don't need them to get another turn right away. Right. Let me see. I'm going to Okay, this is fun. Um, well, actually, no, I'm not going to do that. Sorry, I'm looking at
You're
my
good.
options
You're
here.
good.
I think I'm going to grab a city question. Okay. I'm going to go with where are you hiding? So sort of like following this scuffle, things like
Yeah.
break back out and where
Mhm.
uh, sort of like answering where some of us end up positioned by asking where are you hiding?
Yeah, I think now that like my team has kind of reemerged seemingly from thin air to like rescue me, even though we weren't able to like obtain the ball or score, we start heading to our like a designated regroup area, kind of not like in a timeout, but a place where we can like, okay, oh my gosh, that was crazy. What do we do next? And I think that it's a like socks and tie store. So
Okay.
it's got like the matching, you want to match your socks to your ties. It's all ridiculous. There's like a bajillion pairs of suspenders and like 4 awkward fedoras for some reason. Like it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's a store like that. And we are all in there with our heads like tucked in a tie rack so we can see each other. And it's like ties all around, trying to figure out our next move to
Okay.
see if we can turn the tide of this game.
That's a great image.
I love it. Our whole body's hanging out, but our little heads inside the ties.
Okay. I'm gonna do diamonds. I signal for my team to pull off a pre-planned maneuver. I think one of us spots one of your team getting into the store, and then we're like pulling around the alleyway on the side of the building that the store is in. And I like signal to have my teammate like give me a boost up onto the fire escape so that I can like sneak in the back and try to break up before you can regroup and strategize. So does it go off without a hitch, or do you see it coming? I'm approaching with the 8 of diamonds.
I kind of love this. I can use multiple cards to block, correct?
Yes, you can also, but you only need a 4.
Okay. So I will, yeah, I mean, I guess we might as well do this.
Okay.
Under counter.
Or no, the 4 is a hard counter for 8.
Oh, sick. Oh, yeah, duh. Yeah, I'm gonna hard counter. And the way that I want this to look is that like the camera cuts to my team and we all have our heads in ties, and I am immediately like, Mercy's Edge is never gonna let us get away with that. They're absolutely right on our tail. So we got to break, and we break, and as you pull up there are like little cardboard cutout versions of us inside the store, so you don't actually like see us, if that makes
Yeah,
sense, and
yeah.
we're able to get the drop on you.
I love
Okay,
this-
awesome.
I love the sports game that takes place in a city and has you duck into a tie store where you have a bunch of cardboard standees of yourself.
Correct.
Yeah,
But,
of
like,
course.
but that's my thing. It was a premeditated location. Like preparations had been made in the past for just this, in case like the safe house was exploited.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine like maybe the store directly upstairs from this is like a sports memorabilia store, so there just were cardboard cutouts of all of the famous Minerva
I
in
love
there,
it.
and you
I
just
love
brought them
it.
downstairs into your meetup place.
I love it. They're from
Um,
like a fan event.
so yeah, we discard to each other. You stopped my approach, and now you're the drive.
Excellent.
And I take 100 brio because I approached above 6, and you take 200 for stopping me.
Very good. Let me see.
We're all so low on cards now.
I know. It's gonna get weird.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Okay, yeah, I'm going to ask Cartwright. They've been out of the action for a minute. I'm gonna make Cartwright the spot.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask, what are you afraid of?
Ooh, what am I afraid of? I legitimately think I'm afraid of losing this match. I think, like, at the beginning I said we
You said you had money on it.
yeah, they put money on it, and it's not really money they can afford to lose.
Okay.
Okay, and then yeah, my approach is obviously going to be a club's approach. Let's see. I'm going to say using the ridiculousness of the ploy that we use to best Mercy's the paladins. I want to feint and break off in an unexpected play. Are you fooled or do you predict the move?
Let me think.
Also, everyone, welcome Pascal to the chat.
Hi.
Okay.
Hello.
So you feint and break off at an unexpected play. Am I fooled or do I predict the move? So I think we already established. I did some research on erosion specifically ahead of this. I have watched you play other matches, and to that end, I do predict this move, and I'm gonna counter with my own 6 because that
Okay.
is what I need to counter exactly.
Yeah, that's a
Nice.
hard counter. Discard.
So I get 100 for playing the 6.
Yep.
And Keegan gets
200.
200. Nice. I'm just drowning in Brio, y'all. I got Brio for days.
Yeah. Be sure to look at your tendencies when you get a chance. See if you want to buy anything.
I should have done that where we are now. I'll have to do it later.
Yeah, it's not a big deal because it's set up to you get more brio in sport, but the things you buy with it are more useful in town. So.
Oh.
And where do I look to see those purchasing things? Like what page?
Yes. Back if the PDF has bookmarks if you want to look.
Oh, I see.
At the very end, tendencies, and then list of tendencies alphabetically, and you can just click the
Gotcha.
page
Thank you.
for each of them.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, I am going to spotlight. Actually, looks like I am double checking the thing.
Are you checking if you get a essentially a free move against erosion because your hand's empty?
Oh, I wasn't. But do I?
Basically,
Probably.
yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Great. I'm gonna spotlight erosion.
Okay.
I want to score points is the deal, y'all.
Absolutely.
I am... Yeah, so I will ask a question first. And that is going to be, how does the crowd catch your attention, Erosion?
I think they have there's a group of fans in the stand that all have custom cozies made that say a world's best cup holder on it with my face, and like have little like erosion fan items and stuff like that. And I just really get starstruck by the fact that this is my life. And like, how cute is that?
It's a cute image too to like cut immediately from a cardboard cutout of you in a store
Yeah.
to like fans with your merch.
If there's one thing you should know about the Ore Breakers is that we are really capitalizing on the merch game.
I love that, and I also love that you're capitalizing on it, but also extremely easily attracted by it.
Well, yeah, I've never seen this many before in one place. Like we just launched the cup holders. I did not, or the cozies. I did not anticipate this turnout.
And the reason you didn't anticipate this turnout is because I bought up all of your merch ahead of this match.
That's why you have to win, because you spent all your money on erosion cozies.
All the money I didn't spend on erosion cozies, I did bet that I was going to win this match with. And I'm going to take the approach, I hold your attention while a teammate needs your help. Do I keep your focus, or do you go to the rescue? And I am, in fact, holding your attention by just having so many cozies with your face.
Yeah.
In this
I like this. I like this a lot.
They all
What
out simultaneously.
What a roundabout psychological play this is.
Yeah, this is
decided
classic Keenan.
I am playing a heel, but also they're only playing a brain game here.
I'm just thinking, if Erosion finds out that this was your doing after the game, how do you respond to that happening to you? That's preposterous.
Here's the thing. I think she just gets so overwhelmed with emotion and just like would go up to Cartwright and say, I had no idea you were my biggest fan, but now that I know,
you wouldn't
like,
even get that it was just me being evil. You would think
yeah, 100%. She'd just be like, I really thought that you hated my guts.
Oh my god.
I think forever ago there was a match where Erosion missed making like an easy point or whatever, because there was a child in the stand with like a doll of Erosion, and I caught it while watching it and was like, oh, I have such a plan. They're never gonna see this coming.
Yeah, I just also don't think you realized how like friendly and like perceptive of like, wow, like I know how much work it takes to notice like that I would love this, and yet you did, and like
That's but in the moment, it sounds like that holds your attention while a teammate needs your help. So what does that look like, Cartwright?
Yeah, I think... God, I've already used the I redirect traffic to try to attack people approach, and that's really sort of just what I do.
Yeah, I mean...
I think...
when you're playing on a busy street...
I think what's actually happened here, though, is instead of doing that, I have had my teammates open up some of the sewer grates, and we've just dropped your siblings down them.
Ah!
That feels right.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. Now's a good time to point out. You may have noticed that you now have in your rail enough value of cards to build a court card.
Okay.
However, you have to wait until it's your turn again to do it.
Cool.
Page 51, you cannot build a court card immediately after racking a card because the spot becomes the drive at that moment. And you must be the drive to build a court card. Cool. So, erosion is the drive. And you'll still choose a spot and ask a question, but you have no cards in your hand, but some other players do. After you ask your question, instead of making an approach, you can do one of the skip your turn moves, which are on page 50.
Gotcha. Let's see. So,
but you'll go ahead. Yeah.
I'm going to kick it to Mercy's Edge. What is pushing you to win?
That's a great question. Got my head on straight a little bit. Realized I have to depend on my team. Had a successful move following that, but then got a little outplayed. So what is pushing me to win? Not to speed run an emotional arc too hard, but I do think it's kind of Mercy having like a realization, um, not really a broad realization about how Z acts in general, but just like realizing like we just had a few plays where I almost completely fucked up this game because I was being an asshole to my siblings. Like now that I've had this realization, I need to like show them that I'm like a proper team captain, and that's what's pushing me to win.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. And then I'm going to go ahead and spend 300 Rio and increase one of my stats by 1.
All right.
And I went ahead and put it into hearts.
Cool.
Aw.
All right, and now I'm the drive. I will. Okay. I'm thinking here. Like, strategically, I should probably throw it back to erosion. Because as soon as Cartwright gets it.
That's game, baby.
Yeah, but if we can keep it moving until I'm out of cards, then we all get our hands back and bets are off. Well, bets still aren't off because still as soon as it goes back to you. Yeah, so fuck it. I'll go against Cartwright. Because I was thinking like I don't have enough in my hand until we reset. I don't have enough to make a court card, even if I were able to rack both of these. Mm-hmm. So I'll just make as good of a play as I can here. I think like metatextually, the idea here is to make it so that when Cartwright scores next turn, they're scoring on the ore breakers.
You can't win, but you can play a little bit of Kingmaker here.
Exactly. So I will ask. I'll ask what's coming down the street.
Oh. I think coming down the street is just like a big old delivery truck, like a big old semi truck. And I think it is. Fuck. Why can't I think of a brand suddenly? I think it is probably like an ore breaker branded delivery truck of some sort. And I'm a little worried about what that means for this match.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right. I only have clubs here, so I'm looking at the clubs approaches.
It's been a really club-heavy match.
Okay. I'm going to feint and break off an unexpected play. I think what that looks like is... okay. I see your attention focus on this truck coming down the road. I see that your team has like pushed to basically the nexus of the arena. You've got pretty good control, and it looks like you're going to be able to break off into one of the branches towards one of our goals. And I think I'm going to have... I'm going to direct my teammates to sort of like spread out and spread out in like a pretty standard play to like like a sort of area control play, like you go on this street, you go on this street, trying to like direct away, like set up points of defense. But then, like as my siblings are doing that, I like leap over a guardrail and like jump right in front of that truck, and it like slams on the brakes and like rolls and like blocks off one of the streets in like a big unexpected way. So yeah, and I guess the answer is yeah, you are fooled. Yeah, so you don't see this coming. You don't predict the move. I crash this truck, and it locks like two of your teammates up. One of them has to like go down an F2, and then that just like my hope is that you still have the choice of who you're about to score against. But like my hope with this play is that it makes it so that like when your teammates reconvene, you're already moving in the direction of the Ore Breaker's goal and not the Paladin's goal. And I'm racking the 8, and you are now the drive. And I take 300 Brio for above 6, and then racking it.
Nice. Yeah. I will do the thing you said. I will spotlight erosion. And I will ask, what are you feeling right this second? Knowing I'm about to score on you.
Conflicted. On one hand, I feel like I really thought that we could pull this out, and thought that we did like some really cool stuff. So I'm disappointed, but I'm also very excited that Cartwright is has like done so well. Yeah, like I think legitimately like there's this like healthy sense of rivalry, like in that, like if we were doing like the anime thing where it's like I've been bested, but I respect you about it. Like it's very much that vibe, but
I love that you're
a
like,
little.
we're friendly rivals, and I'm like, I would kill you, and you're like,
Oh, 100%. From the jump, that's who these characters were. Like,
Yeah, that's a
zero
great
doubt.
dynamic.
Yeah, so I think like truly Erosion sees this coming, and it will like do like this slow like I gave it my best. If only we had trained a little bit harder, we could have beat them. But I really think that if Cartwright gets this win, they can ascend to the next level. And how amazing will they be? And so it's that slow-mo like run to try and stop you. And then Erosion just hesitates at the last second, and then you see a little smirk cross their faces. They go, "Get him, little buddy."
yeah, I think there's a second where you could Cartwright could go towards the Mercy's Edge goal or the Erosion goal, and does end up going for the Erosion goal.
Okay.
Just to give us a little narrative beat here.
Yeah, and then we essentially get a freeze frame here because building a court card in Sport results in a score. Each arc contains 3 scores. They're the critical points that bring each set of the match to an end. Before the action of the score is described, play shifts from Sport to Town. So we'll see what it actually looks like to make that score after we do our town scene. But yeah, you're looking for the
queen. I'm looking for the queen.
Yes. Again, I'm sorry I didn't organize those.
No, you're fine.
Is it going to be the last one in the pile?
It
Yeah.
absolutely will be.
Amazing.
Oh my god.
Woohoo!
That is incredible.
Truly wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
About town scenes then, and I'll re-rack cards when we do this.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Town. Give me just a second to get my pages together.
Yeah, no worries. Enjoying flipping cards around and fighting Seraphim, presumably.
I know there was a setting to flip the whole stack, but I wasn't fast enough to do it.
I'm trying to make sure that I have it like put that I know like what we do with our cards? Because I'm pretty sure we return our discards to our hand now.
Yeah, let me read this bit under the world is smaller here while you look.
Yeah.
The world is smaller here. Time moves more slowly. The edges of your perception stay closer to your face. It is a world of quiet familiarity. The park, the mall, the convenience store. It's a world of small mysteries, of business that ain't yours. The farm, the factory, the lab. For the Minerva, it's something incredible. Town is a memory, universally shared. It's a peaceful year off, the gap between high school and college, or community and uni. A final summer vacation, the last months before you start a new job. Town is a reflection of the life the Minerva never got to live, a shared dream of what could have been. As passion runs high and adrenaline courses through their veins on the field of sport, something unlocks within the Minerva. Suddenly you remember, of course you remember, your opponents. No, your friends. They're here too. Don't you remember them?
Awesome. Yes. Okay. I found the text I was looking for. Thank you for reading that.
Yeah.
First, you discard that 9 and that 3 that you used to erosion. And then we do each return our discards to our hands, and any cards that we have in our rails stay there.
And we do all of them, right?
Yes. Even if it's more than 6, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And then we'll pull this court card down here. And this court card cannot be built again until the next arc. Yeah. So as we got from that blurb, town scenes are slice of life glimpses into your Minervum's unlived life, snatched from the ether in a frantic moment of clarity as tensions build in sport. You'll tell these personal stories about the relationships between your Minerva to give context to the action of sport and to discover who your Minerva are as people. Each player's spotlighted Minervum will be present in your town scenes. So in this scene, it'll just be the 3 of us, Mercy, Cartwright, and Erosion, and not our siblings.
Cool.
Yeah, so we went through the card stuff, and now, as with sport, first determine your disposition. So we can hop back to that same disposition page on 45 and look at our hands, see what the highest combined rank is, and reference that with our auspice card's face, and pick from the 3 in the grid.
I'll go first. I have either inconvenienced, awakened, or passionate. But I think I'm gonna go with awakened.
Okay. I've got sympathetic, grateful, or serene. I think I'm gonna go with serene.
And I have crestfallen, discouraged, or gloomy. I think I'm gonna go with discouraged.
Okay. And then we've got our dispositions. Now decide where the town scene will take place. The scoring player can choose between the locale associated with the court card they just built or the one associated with their Minervum's auspice card. So Cartwright can either choose the Queen of Clubs location or the Ace of Spade location. Yeah.
So Queen of Clubs would be the statue garden. Ace of Spades. Scrolling would be Underpass Road. And given that we've been playing in the city, I think Underpass Road feels best.
Cool.
Which is on page 78.
All right. Would you like to read the little blurb for Underpass Row and the unique questions?
Yeah. Cars overhead, solitude below, a heavy whiff of fresh paint. Artist named but unknown. Down the line, a shadow, a memory. End 45 miles per hour, speed limit. And then my special questions are you speak with Meadow's heart, Caesar, asks her, or observe. What piece of graffiti sticks out to you? How do you leave your mark? Do you think anything lives down here? Who do you think is enjoying this the most? What was left behind here? What could you do down here that you couldn't normally? Where's the road going? And what's pissing you off?
Yeah, so our location in this dreamscape of town is a we're hanging out under the underpasses of a highway, and again this is this is a scene of something that like didn't really happen. It's very like fluid and dreamlike. It can be sort of like shifting in the way we interpret it. It can be like the like what's coming to mind for me now with like Underpass Row is like a very like liminal space type thing where it's like an endless row of like these concrete pillars over like stacked and stacked overpasses and like this like jumbled city, and it's just like this like oppressive unnatural darkness underneath these like bridges that block out the sky, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool location. And now we jump to page 79. The spot at the time of the score begins the town scene as the drive, so that'll be erosion. As in sport, the drive begins by choosing a spot and asking them a question from the default town questions list, the list provided by the current locale, or any questions that you've gained through your tendencies or other means. Some of the like skill trees on your tendency let you buy new questions to ask. The town questions are: what are you feeling right this second? Who are you thinking about? What's your goal right now? What would you change about this place? What seems out of place? What do you see that puts you at ease? What do you hear that puts you on edge? And what can you find here and only here? And just like in sport, the spot must answer the question honestly. Question and answer can be in character or out. You can add details as you wish, and the answer will help bring details into the scene, and everyone can expand upon them by describing your character's actions and feelings. And then before we get into how the specific card mechanics work, I just want to jump real quick to page 86 that talks about how a town scene ends. So we can sort of look at like what our sort of like goal is here, because we're not, in sports, very obvious we're trying to score on the other teams. In a town scene can end under three different conditions. Number one, the two players who initiated it, the drive and the spot at the time of the score, so that's Cartwright and Erosion. If you build a court card with the same rank or suit as the one used to score, the scene ends. So if we'll talk about how you like build court cards together and stuff in this phase, but if the two of you build a clubs court card or a queen court card, that resolves the scene. The second way is if 5 court cards are built during the scene by any combination of players. And the third way is if the players agree that the scene has run its course.
Cool.
So yeah, this is a very slice of life phase of play where we've gone from being demigod celebrity athletes to where this is some memory we have of hanging out under some bridges, and the moves that we'll be making are more about learning how we relate to each other and what we feel about each other and that sort of thing. So Erosion, if you would choose a spot and ask them a question.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Cartwright as the spot. And I want to ask, what can you do down here that you couldn't normally?
Um, Here's the deal. I think Cartwright can be honest down here in a way that I don't think they can when they are like back home with their parents.
Okay.
And I think like even when they're like back home or like maybe like playing sports, I think there's like a version of them that sort of only exists in this place.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so instead of an approach, the drive ends their turn in town with a convey. A convey is an attempt by the drive to effectively channel their emotions into an action that will help forge a connection with the spot. These emotional connections may be positive, negative, or somewhere in between. There are 16 templates for a convey, each keyed to a specific suit. Diamonds conveys aim to build a connection based on teamwork or camaraderie. Heart conveys aim to build a connection based on friendship or love. Clubs conveys aim to build a connection based on rivalry or jealousy. And spades conveys aim to build a connection based on antagonism or hate. And so as we move cards around the table during this phase, building a court card with one another basically means coming to a point through this memory, this conversation, these actions, where two characters get to the same page about how they feel about each other, whether that be that they've got some sort of connection as friends, as teammates, as rivals, or as antagonists. So when you make a convey, describe what your Minervum does, adding detail to the bolded parts of the template, and then we'll talk about how the mechanic works from there.
Gotcha. So I want to play a diamond convey. And like, given that Cartwright can be more honest here than anywhere else, Erosion would talk to them through a solution to a problem. I think this is where Cartwright, because we kind of established that Cartwright's very like, I can figure it out on my own and will like surmount odds through trickery and all of that stuff. But in a moment of honest and open vulnerability, Erosion is able to say, let's talk this problem out.
So what does that look like? What is the problem that you're helping Cartwright with? And you can both contribute to this.
Yeah.
And again, like everything we talk about, it can be as like straightforward as it, or not as you want. It can be as literal or not as you want.
Yeah, I feel like the problem we're trying to fight through. I'm so used to being in the sports space still. We're friends now. The problem we're trying to work through is that thing I was saying where I don't feel like I can be myself at home like I can when I'm here. And maybe we're talking through like sort of how to bring the energy of this place back home with me, even in like some small way.
Okay, yeah. So what the mechanics here look like is instead of choosing a card, add up all of the qualities relevant to your chosen convey. Qualities are a variety of factors that can make the spot more likely to be receptive to the drive's chosen convey. So the first type of quality is a stat. We've talked about stats before. So you're doing a diamond convey. So first look at your diamond stat.
Yeah, so that's a 1.
Okay. Yeah, so that's we're starting. We've got one quality right off the bat. The second kind of quality is a tendency. Um, consider both your tendencies as the drive and the spot's tendencies and give +1 quality for each that applies. So you're basically just looking at these personality traits that you both have, and any of them that you think like come up during this conversation and or make it more likely that that Cartwright will be receptive to your help, or that you will feel more capable of helping. For anyone that you can call on, add 1 quality. And when I play, I like to really like, if you can think of a way that this one works, like do it. Like don't hold back about, oh well, maybe it doesn't quite fit.
So my tendencies, I have friendly and perceptive that are both diamond, and I think both of those would fit in here, right? Like creating that friendly environment and being really perceptive about hearing the stuff that maybe Cartwright is talking around, because while they're more open here, it can still be really scary to say feelings out loud that you've never said before.
Absolutely. And then what about Cartwright's tendencies?
Cartwright does not have any diamond tendencies.
They don't have to be diamonds. They just have to be like narratively relevant.
Yeah. In that case, I do think there's some degree to which Cartwright's submissiveness is such that they're gonna just sit here and listen to their good friend talk, even if they don't necessarily want to hear it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the one.
Okay. Yeah. So that brings us up to 4 qualities, and then there's you can get an additional bonus if any of the tendencies you called on match the suit that we're talking about. But this bonus can't be applied more than once. So we did have at least 1 diamond's tendency, so we go from 4 to 5. Cool. And then the third kind of quality is a quirk. Quirks are descriptive words or phrases about a specific locale. But we don't have any quirks yet, because adding a quirk to a locale is something that you can spend your turn on instead of making a convey. So yeah. So that brings us to 5 qualities. And then we look at the little rank chart that's the same as the one that we look at to figure out hard counter values. And this means to rack a card here, because you have 5 qualities, you need 7 value of cards. And that value of 7 has to be predominantly diamonds. Again, you can add cards together, but it has to numerically be predominantly diamonds.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and throw down that 9 of diamonds then.
Okay. Yeah. So that meets the required rank. And in town scenes, when you make conveys and you attempt to rack a card, you actually are attempting to put it in the other player's rail.
Gotcha.
So you can put that in front of Cartwright, and then the last like mechanical action here is that when the spot racks a card from a convey, they can choose to flip the card instead. When you do so, you place the card in your hand instead of your rail, and you move any single card of the opposite suit to your rail from your hand. So hearts becomes clubs and spades become diamonds, and vice versa. In the conversation of your story, a flip means that the convey missed the mark. Friendship was mistaken for rivalry, an offer of help was mistaken for antagonism, and so on. So, if Cartwright thinks that this didn't land, you can take that diamonds card into your hand and move any spades card into your rail instead.
Ooh. I think just given what we know of Cartwright, and their relationship with erosion, I am gonna move this 9 up. I'm gonna place this 10 of spades down on the rail instead.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I have taken this conversation not as a thing that is helpful to me, but as a here are the ways erosion is trying to fundamentally change who I am as a person.
Oh my god.
In a way that
Okay, yeah.
I don't think Cartwright's going to be great at explaining at the time, but they are upset in a way about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then the last thing we do is Cartwright. Since you have received a convey, over on your sheet where you wrote down Erosion's name, highlight the diamond suit to show that they offered you a diamond's convey.
Cool.
When it comes time to build a court card, you can only build a card in a suit that the person that you're targeting with it has offered to you, because it has to come from both directions.
Cool.
And then is there's okay. I'll bring this up now too, because we can still add narration here if we want to. That the ways that you earn brio in town are different from sport. It doesn't come from any of those like mechanical things of like racking the card, offering this card. They come from using your habits and your things. So habits are behavioral inclinations linked to your perception of your divine parent's legacy and how it reflects on yourself. Expressing these habits during town scenes allows you to earn brio outside of sport. While drive, expressing a basic habit in your Minerva's thoughts and actions earns you 100 brio. So erosion was drive. Erosion's basic habit is break something well constructed. So if you felt like you had expressed that habit in your action, you could take brio. And then things are strange belongings tied to your divine heritage. When you recall your life in town, these things may appear in your memory. You gain new things during character creation or duty scenes. Your Minerva's chosen things do not have to manifest in the same way in every town scene as the dreamlike nature of these memories shifts and folds. While drive, using a thing or incorporating it into your narration earns you 100 brio. You can only earn this bonus once per turn, even if you have more than one thing. So if you feel like you use your keyring at all during this turn, you can take 100 brio. And that's how that mechanic works.
And that's in addition to doing all the card stuff with the things and the habit, right? Or is that independent of it?
Sorry,
Like-
what is it?
So I like did the card thing, right?
Yes,
so like in
yes.
sport, right? You can do the thing where you spend brio, or you play cards. Is it the
Yes,
same here?
okay. No, yes, this is because you don't get brio from like how well you do the convey.
Okay, so you both play cards and
Yes.
earn brio.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
Yeah, I would say I kind of like the idea that like the moment the conversation shifts for Cartwright is because I try to do like a object lesson of telling Cartwright like the longer that you hide your true self and like keep it in, and I break like a cement pillar or something like to show like the destructive nature of keeping
Okay.
everything in, and maybe Cartwright sees this as like I was using it as an excuse to show off how like
Strong I am.
cool and strong I was, and that I didn't really have your best interests at heart, and that I was trying to change you into like being something else.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the conversation shifted.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, if there aren't any other like notes about that turn, then just like sport, um, cart right now becomes drive and picks a spot.
Yeah. So I got new. I earlier went down into my skill tree and bought some new questions. Are those supposed to be usable now, or are they usable during the sport scene?
They're usable anytime you ask a question.
Okay. Cool. That is
The clarifications for all the like the things you can buy are on page 135.
okay. Cool. I'll go back to that. That's not my turn.
Yeah, you good.
Just to double check. But I will highlight Mercy here. And I'm gonna ask, what would you change about this place?
Ooh, okay. I gotta think about it. I gotta look at my own character sheet. I think you get your answer to this because like I've I've sort of just been like awkwardly standing to the side when you guys had this little like conversation that didn't go well, and then I sort of do that sort of like so changing the subject like
I love
um,
chicken.
yeah. And I think I start complaining about how dark it is down here. I think I'd say that it makes me claustrophobic. Like it feels like the like when I can't see around me, it feels like everything's like closing in. It just like puts me on edge, and I don't know why you guys like hanging out down here.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna try to convey. Let me see. Ooh. I'm gonna try to convey with this 6 of clubs.
Remember that you don't choose the card yet.
Oh, right. Okay. Cool. I will. I do choose the convey now, though.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Pick a command and describe what it looks like.
Yeah, so I am going to encourage you to make a rash decision here.
Oh boy.
You're talking about not liking it being dark down here. So I recommend, I encourage you to just start a fire.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, let's okay. Let's look at our qualities here before I decide how I respond to that. Okay, so that's spades. Do you have a spades stat?
No, I have 0 in all my stats.
All right. So we're starting at 0. Now let's look at our tendencies.
I should say
and
that's club stat.
oh, did I say spades? Okay, yeah.
No, it's just
I'm always
right thing.
yes, yeah. I'm always mixing them up. Yeah, okay. So encouraging me to make a rash decision, pushing towards a connection of rivalry or jealousy. Let's look at our tendencies for that. Do you know which ones of Cartwright's tendencies you want to pull on for this?
I definitely wrote my tendencies down. Oh, never mind. I did write my tendencies down. I just put them down in the thing spot. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pull on my, like, dynamic tendency here.
That definitely makes sense to me. Okay. Yeah. And I've got enchanting, dishonest, and proactive. I think proactive definitely helps push me towards rash decisions.
Yeah.
I think I want to pull on dishonest too, in the sense of um, like in trying to move the conversation somewhere else, I'm like talking about shit that genuinely bothers me, and that's put me in this position where you're now trying to get me to do something rash, because I was being honest. Um, so yeah, so that puts us up to 3, and dishonest is clubs, so that gives us one more. So we have 4 qualities here, which means you have to play 8 value of cards, and they have to be at least predominantly clubs,
Yeah.
but you can add together.
So I'm gonna play this 6 of clubs, and then I'll add to it this 4 of hearts to get us above the.
All right, perfect. And so the way that works is that I the the biggest relevant card goes to my rail,
Yep.
and the other one discards to me.
Cool.
Okay, now I have to decide if I'm going to flip this from clubs to hearts. I don't have hearts in my hand, so I can't. Okay. So that means that I get that you're trying to like be rivalrous or whatever. But
Do you do it?
I think I'm gonna do it, because the whole point was I was trying to I was trying to like move the conversation. So yeah, I think I just like I pull out a lighter, and I like walk over to a trash can. And I start trying to like light a piece of newspaper on fire to like toss it into the trash can, and like nothing's really happening because I don't have anything like good to kindle, but I'm definitely burning shit inside this trash can, and sending smoke up towards the overpasses above, and I think I'm being like very dramatic about it, how it's not working. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a great idea. This is definitely helping a lot. I can see so much better around here. It smells great. Yeah. And yeah, I think that's the turn.
Yeah, incredible scene.
Okay, I will. I'll make erosion the spot. And I'm gonna ask, what are you feeling right this second? And I think the way that I'm like trying to get this is, I'm like doing this, like, I'm like being bitchy about this thing that's going on, and then like feeling like I've sort of changed the conversation from the awkward moment that was had. I then like kind of lean over to you, and I'm like you good? Like noticing that you look kind of upset about what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think the scene started that I was feeling discouraged. And then I was like, oh, I'll help my friend. And my friend was like, fuck you. And now there's burning garbage. So I think that, like, I really do feel like this is like just a dumpster fire of a situation. And that discouraged feeling has deepened into like almost a depression. Like, what am I doing? Why am I here?
Yeah. I really like that for like interpreting this like pushing that like dream-like feeling of like, the camera like sees your character like feeling this way, and it's like the darkness like pushes in, and and the way that the area like expands out around us like pushes out. And it's like a very like, yeah. All right. What have I got going here?
Can't believe I've used up all my Via bench cards.
Uh,
Now I
Rip,
have.
rip, 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 rip.
I guess that I'll jump in with an extra rule here for that is that uh, since when you make your convey, you don't play a card. You just like start adding up what you have to see what card you need to play. If you don't have the cards to do it, or you just don't want to spend your cards,
Yeah, I saw the 0 point convey.
yes, you can still make the convey, and you basically the other player doesn't get to rack a card, but they still do get to highlight that you made that convey to them. So it still like opens up a connection card that can be made. What convey was made on the last turn that we needed to highlight? By the way, that was
a club.
right. And it was Cartwright doing a club's convey to Mercy's Edge.
Yep.
Okay, I need to highlight that then.
As you highlight that, not me, right?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, so I think for my convey to erosion, I am going to man. I'm like debating between a couple. I'm like stuck between like trying to figure out like what is the best thing in this situation and then like how likely is Mercy's Edge to do what is the best thing in this situation. So yeah, I think it's gonna be diamonds. I think it's gonna be I back you up in a confrontation. Actually, no. I'm gonna do I talk you through a solution to a problem. I think I am trying to do the best thing that it feels like I can do in this situation. I'm like asking you how you're doing. You seem to be like pulled further down into this bad mood. So I want to think how I want to frame it because like I guess okay. I think I know how Mercy's Edge would frame this. I think given the previous interaction with Cartwright where they were like sort of being bitchy at each other, I think it's Mercy's Edge talking to Erosion and being like, oh, you like don't take it seriously what like Cartwright says, like they're an asshole, but like in like a jokey way where I'm saying it out loud. I'm not saying it just directly to you, so that like I'm trying to legitimately give you the space to be like, hey, you like really shouldn't like let this get to you. Right. But instead of like isolating you in a conversation where it might make it more awkward, I'm like openly being bitchy to Cartwright in a way that I don't actually think is going to start a fight because we're like kind of being playful in that dynamic, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's diamonds. I don't have a diamond stat. But tendencies. I am enchanting. I'm going to take that. I think that's good for when I'm trying to like work people's emotions. I'm going to take dishonest because like I'm constructing the way that I talk about this in a way that's like obscuring.
Right.
Trying to obscure it to the point where it like so that it doesn't like gain heat, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to take proactive because I reached out to you to try to do this. What about erosion's tendencies?
Yeah, I've got I would say like I wouldn't say friendly necessarily fits in here, but I would say mercurial where I'm
Mhm.
like quick to change how I'm feeling,
Yeah.
and perceptive both would. Like I can pick up that you're offering me like an olive branch of sort to like pull me back into it. And because I'm kind of very quick to change my emotions, it makes sense that I would kind of get over it pretty quick.
Yeah, 100%. So that brings us to 5, and perceptive is diamond, so that's
Yep.
6. So I only need 6 ranks of cards, and I have the 6 of diamonds. How perfect. So
Nice.
yeah. So do you want to rack that as it is, or do you want to rack a spades from your hand instead?
I think I'm gonna keep it.
Cool. And then highlight that Mercy's Edge gave you a diamonds convey.
Nice. Done.
Awesome. And now you are the drive.
I'm going to yeah, I'm gonna put Cartwright back on the spot. And I'm gonna say what seems out of place?
Ooh, what? I'm. I think we put a little bit of fun at Cartwright for like being a little bitchy. They're realizing that sort of in this moment, the thing that is out of place is their attitude.
Okay. Yeah.
Great. And yeah, I'm going to go with a spade here. And I'm gonna make it worse, right? Like I kind of perceive that you recognize like your attitude's out of place and like seeing a win. I'm gonna put you on the spot when I know you're uncomfortable, and kind of lean into that. Yeah, you're right. Cartwright is an asshole. Do you remember that? Do you remember when we were hanging out and they just like totally like ruined it? We were all having a good time. Like Cartwright always does this. Like I like just sort of in a very teasing sort of way starts to play into that like recognition of like, yeah, it doesn't feel good when you like I was trying to help you and you were mean to me. Like kind of playfully show that back of like, yeah, man, this sucks.
Yeah.
You should feel uncomfortable.
Well,
You
I
were
do
so
feel
mean. And now everything smells like burning trash.
Okay. Erosion, do you have a you said this was spades, right?
Yeah, I don't have anything in spades.
Okay. How about tendencies?
I would say, but I feel like I could lean into like that perceptive tendency again, where it's like I recognize, oh, Cartwright is a little bit on the off foot. I can push this a little bit, and like I will leave it up to you guys as well. That mercurial going from like, oh, I'm like feeling good to like now I'm feeling antagonistic. Like it just that constant flux of emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely see that. So that's 2 there.
And
And then
have submissive because I am just gonna sit here and take it. I have wary, which like I was worried about opening up. And then it was immediately sort of you it was correct that I was wary of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do those 2, but notably submissive is also a spade.
okay. So that brings it from 4 to 5.
Yeah.
And yeah, so 7 ranks of cards, predominantly spades.
Yeah, I'm just going to drop the 9 of spades.
All right. Yeah. So Cartwright, are you taking that, or are you racking a diamonds instead? I could. I mean, I'll just put it out there that the way that I see the option here is like, are you taking this as like, oh yeah, I'm being antagonized, even if I deserve it, or are you seeing this as like it's building towards like a camaraderie thing because it's like, oh, I'm being checked in a way that I needed to be.
Yeah, I think
So
I
I could see either one.
as you said it flips into a diamond.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I am in fact going to flip it. I should put that screen back on into a diamond, which could be a 9 of diamonds.
Awesome. And yeah, so if you want to talk about how you how you respond to this a little bit, and then you become the drive.
Yeah, I think I take a few sort of rightfully earned lumps here. Because, hey, you know what? I sort of was being a dick, and it's fine to call me out on that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it hurts when people say a true thing to you.
Yeah. And make sure that you still highlight spades from erosion.
Yes. Cool. I'm going to flip and go back to erosion just so we don't always go in the same order.
Yeah, totally.
And erosion, I'm going to ask you the question. Where are you going with this? Which is one of the
I
questions
think.
I got when I leveled up.
Yeah, I
Nice.
think.
Spent money or whatever.
That sounded like one of the first. What tendency is that from?
Great question. I don't remember. I didn't think to write it down.
Okay, that's fine.
I think erosion's point in kind of like in helping and pushing this thing a little bit is to show Cartwright that like it's painful to like the people who care about them that they are so insular. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
try to highlight that and show like I'm here for you, and you pushing me away only hurts you and me. And like trying to in a fun, like I say fun, in a kidding sort of way, show that like it's unnecessary. Like it's not, this isn't what either of us wants. Like stop. Like you're fine here, you're safe here. Like I get, and like whether or not she's doing it well, I think that's the intention, right? Is like the knock it off, like this isn't helpful.
Cool. Well, in that case, I'm gonna take the heart convey. I give I provide comfort to you as you experience turmoil. I think in this case, I am the turmoil, and the comfort I'm providing is apologizing.
Through the power of apology.
Yeah. Which is to say, I think we see Cartwright give a legitimate apology for being a dick, and you know, just that they're having big feelings right now.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So I have no points in hearts. I do have.
I have.
Oh, sorry.
I have 1 point in hearts. I don't know if that counts here.
No, it's just the
Drive. Got
drive. Yes.
Yeah. And then looking at my tendencies, I think I'm going to point out the submissive tendency once again because I am very quickly apologizing for having fucked up here. On the note of very quickly doing the thing, my agile tendency.
Yeah, I'd pull agile and dynamic for the same reasons.
Yeah, and dynamic was going to be the third thing I said. So that's 3, and one of them is a heart, so it will equate to 4 eventually. But Sarah, what about your tendencies?
I feel like all 3 of mine can apply. I'm friendly, so like I'm really quick to pick up the apology. That mercurial coming in again, just like super fluctuating, and then the perceptive, realizing that like, oh, this is a sincere apology. It's not just Cartwright saying stuff just to say stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 6 tendencies plus 1 for a matching suit.
Yeah.
So that's 7. So you only need 5 to make the convey.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give you this 8 of hearts.
And rack or flip.
I'm gonna
Flip
keep it. I really like it. I like that there was this sort of back and forth, and that Mercy was a little bit of a mediator in there, but I just don't see erosion necessarily continuing to willfully rub Cartwright's face in it. Like,
Yeah.
you've apologized. She feels the love. They're ready to be over it.
Cool.
Yeah, that's great. I would have highlighted that part as well.
Thank you.
But Sarah, it's your turn now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over to Mercy now that we've gotten
Beef out of the way.
kind of our beef out of the way. What do you see that puts you at ease?
Huh. I'm trying to decide if this is like too on the nose or if it's like cute symbolism. Yeah, I think like as we're like walking and talking, we come upon a spot where there's like a gap in the crisscrossing roads above, and it's sort of like a beam of sunlight coming down. And yeah, so I think it is sort of just like a cute image of like as we're starting to like turn the mood around, we're seeing like the sun come out, and then I already talked about how Mercy feels uncomfortable in the like pitch dark. So yeah, I think that's the image of what it is.
Awesome. I want to go ahead and do. I feel like I'm just like I don't like the mean moves, and I don't want to do them. Not that they're mean, but it's just like I can feel
that's
myself
fine.
being like, no.
We talked about how like from when we created this character, we talked about how you didn't see them leaning into a mean aspect.
Yeah.
And that could always change.
I think I want to go with a heart convey. And I want to like I realize like I see you in this moment where like the sun kind of like breaks through, and I see you like physically ease, right? Like you are immediately more comfortable, and I realized perhaps I was dismissive of your comment of it being dark before.
Okay.
And I want to reach into my little keychain and pull off one of those little like thumb flashlights that are tiny.
Aww.
And I want to give it to you. So I want to give up something I care about to help you.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. Oh, that's so good. Okay, do you have a heart stat?
I have 1 in heart, yeah.
Okay, so we're starting with 1. And tendencies?
I'm going to say friendly. Mine are really good for these kinds of things. Friendly and perceptive, right? Like,
Okay.
I see that my friend was having a hard go of it, and I want to make sure that they don't have to deal with that again, or at least have an easier time next time.
Sarah,
I honestly...
Oh, I was just
No,
gonna
go
say,
ahead.
Sarah min-maxed her character for being nice to people.
I know,
Yeah.
I didn't do it on purpose, but I'm here for it.
I wouldn't hesitate to take Mercurial too, because like you said, it was you changing from you felt like you were being dismissive, so now you're being caring about it.
Yeah, which it has the heart, so that would give us the extra one.
Yeah, and then I'll take do I have... I don't know if mine apply here. I'll take my proactive because like I said, it was like I felt like a slightly out of character thing for Mercy's Edge to openly complain about something that was actually like sincerely bothering Zir, you know.
Yeah.
So that like Z took that proactive step. So I'll take the proactive, and that brings us to 5 plus 1, so 6.
Great. So I only have the 5 in heart, but can I add another card to it so long as the 5 is the biggest, or do they all have to be
Yes,
hearts?
yes. It just has
Awesome.
to be predominantly hearts.
Yeah, so I'm gonna rack these 2 then.
Okay. I discard the extra one. I
Gotcha.
just rack
Perfect.
the biggest relevant card.
Great.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm not going to flip that. I think that's a very sweet moment. I think Mercy's Edge is you can tell that Z's like appreciative about it, but also I think there is a moment where Z is like, it like seems like the flip might be coming. It seems like Z
Right.
might be offended, thinking that you're like somehow calling Zira a coward or whatever. Like be like,
Mhm.
oh, you need a little light, you need a little night light. So I think there's that like reluctance to make a genuine acceptance of it, but I do.
I want to say something real quick, which is
Yes.
that I feel like as we all sort of enter this light, and we've had this like heartfelt moment where we all sort of come together and understand each other, I think there's a pretty good chance that this scene sort of naturally run its course.
Yeah, yeah. Like
I like that.
I think if we had like more time, it could be fun to see like which connections are built with it. But like
Yeah.
I also think it's a good wrap.
Yeah, I think both given the time and given where we are in the scene, I think it makes sense to
Yeah.
sort of end on everybody holding hands and standing in the sunlight while
I like
the
that.
trash fire burns on the other side.
Yeah, very very wholesome. So yeah, we when the town scene ends, any court cards built during the town scene are returned to their pile. We didn't have any, and play resumes in sport. So I will jump back to the score page on page 51. And oh wait, no, I'm wrong. I put the resolution part after the town because that makes more sense.
It does make more sense.
I arranged the book better than I thought.
Damn.
Okay, it's page 88.
Yeah.
When a town scene has been resolved, play returns to sport, and you finally describe that critical play that changes the flow of the match. In this case, it's the final one, too. So if the town scene ended with the specified connection between the drive and spot at the time of the score, then the two players work together to describe how the memory of their connection gives the drive the upper hand, allowing them to score on the spot. If the scene ends in either of the other two ways, which it did, the drive must describe what they give up of themselves in order to pull off the play in lieu of drawing on something new they've learned about the way they relate to their opponent. So, again, like I said, if we had had more time, we might have like made some connections and like solidified that like, okay, this is the way that we like feel about each other. But as it was, we sort of just got like a little peek. Like we saw that like we're like getting there, but we didn't get there.
Yeah. I kind of love the idea that like that wasn't enough for Cartwright to kind of learn the lesson. You know what I mean? It was that he had a little.
I'm about to say a terrible thing.
Oh my god.
Which is that so I have to give up something to make this final score.
Yes.
And I think as Cartwright's sort of running forward with the ball, about to score, I think there's a moment where I lock eyes with Erosion, and I think about the way we could have been friends. And I know this is going to disappoint them to some degree. And I slam that fucking ball in. I sort of give up the opportunity, not just the opportunity to be a better person here, but like the opportunity to have like a real friendship with either of you.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Ball's life. I don't know.
Ball
Yeah.
is life.
Do you think you could give us a little picture of like what that looks like in the aftermath, as like, the like teams are coming together, the big thing of Gatorade is being poured on your coach or whatever. Like what does that look like, that like as we're like coming out of sports mode, you've like decided that your head's at a place where you're like nah, I'm in it for the wins. Like, I'm not here to make friends.
Yeah, I think so. We talked a little bit earlier about how there are like cameras and
Yeah.
like some degree of that, and I think I'm really hamming it up directly to camera instead of like shaking hands and doing the whole like
Oh,
good
okay.
game thing. Like I'm making a meal out of the big, pouring Gatorade on my head moment. And I'm
Absolutely.
talking about to the cameras about like, oh, this match wasn't even like difficult, and neither of
Oh
these
my
teams are
God.
any good, and like I
Damn.
think Cartwright has discovered they're a heel, and they're like, oh, this is my character now, and I don't know, maybe they'll understand it or maybe they won't, but
Yeah. Okay, I love that. Yeah. So the arc comes to an end. Our Minerva, that's the name of the book, go about their lives until the next time they meet in Coliseum. Erase all highlighted suits, return your stats to their default values, return your brio to 0, unmaster all the modes from your tendencies, return core cards, blah blah blah. Yeah, so that's the wrap up. Unless if anybody has any like um, as the credits roll moments of like, going back to the locker rooms, going back to your quarters, like all that stuff. If anybody has a specific one to share, that that's the end.
Jason, thanks for popping in the chat, even if it was late.
Oh,
I think what we like, if I were to add a scene, like maybe like just like a quick montage of like Erosion going over and shaking oh crap, is it Misery?
Mercy.
Mercy. I was like, it's not Misery. Mercy's Edge's hand to, good game. That one thing you did was sick as hell, and it build that camaraderie. And when Erosion turns to congratulate Cartwright, they watch as Cartwright just steps all over a bunch of Erosion merch that has fallen
Oh
on the
my
ground,
God.
seemingly with like wanton abandon. And that is confusing for Erosion because, like, wait, this isn't adding up. And then she witnesses the grandstanding, and it's just sort of like kind of a flashback to that dream state in between where there was the dark kind of like crowding around her. You just get a flash of like that feeling of like, oh, like I thought I was cheering, like kind of feeling stupid a little bit. But then turning around to her siblings who were absolutely covered in sewer crap.
Oh no.
I forgot I threw him down a sewer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and goes to take care of them.
I think for Mercy's Edge, the image that I have in my head is like a scene for no one, because it like harkens back to like other games that I've had this team play in.
Oh yeah.
I'm sort of picturing one of the Paladins' recent matches. The last time I played as Mercy's Edge, I think. The last time I like spotlighted them instead of one of their siblings, they were going against I think it was the Evergreen on the in arena event, and we had described these like sort of like volleyball or tennis nets that were made of like razor wire, and there's this one really dramatic moment where part of Mercy's Edge's hair gets like shorn off by one of these razor wires as Z like narrowly like avoids falling into it. So I think the like scene we see is like Mercy's Edge like in the showers after the game, like washing all the like grime of the city out of their hair, and we see Zir like run a hand over that spot where the hair is growing back, and the implication is like thinking of like starting to get a little bit of self-awareness about the way that Zir like like showboating or like tunnel vision on zero and success like hurts the team sometimes. And so like after we like see Zir shower and like return to Zir quarters, we see Zir like getting dressed in like religious regalia and like going to take a like some sort of duty that had to be done by one of the divine children, sort of like taking the shift of one of their siblings to go like talk to the followers of the paladin's parents, and trying to like make a small effort without openly apologizing, just trying to like do something to like be like, hey, so sorry I was an asshole to you guys. I did at least we didn't lose that game, but we didn't win either. So yeah, I think that's the image of Zir.
Yeah, I think right at the end here we catch Cartwright going back to the person they made all those bets with and
Ooh, yeah.
getting their money back and sort of like going home to their godparents. That's their parents who are gods, I guess.
Yeah.
Their godparents.
There's a space.
But going back to the parents being like, hey, did you see the match? I won money, and they're just completely uninterested in it.
Oh no!
Oh, it hurts my heart.
Nobody's really there to celebrate with Cartwright.
No! Now I feel bad.
They're just very sad, even though they won. And they think about how different it could have been had they not made that score.
Oh my god!
You know, I can't let Cartwright win at the very end here. Look, I made Cartwright.
I was hoping.
And...
I was kind of hoping we'd have like a Scrooge McDuck moment where Cartwright just like swims through all of their money that they won.
No, Cartwright has a bunch of money now, but still no friends, and they're not sure it's the right decision.
Oh.
But yeah, that was Our Minerva. This was in fact.
I loved it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this was great.
Thank you.
Running this mode.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun as always. I love seeing these little weirdos interact and getting to meet new teams and stuff. It's so fun every time.
Yeah.
Go for it, Keegan.
Oh, I was just saying, I really hope I get to play again and bring back the rest of Cartwright's team.
That'd be awesome,
At some point in the future.
Yeah. I just love how like thought-provoking, like very upfront and simple the questions are, both like in sport and in town, but how quickly, like given the different phases of the game, they elicit like really vulnerable and like honest responses, like and even like be honest. But I love that because it went from sort of this competitive, like fast-paced, here's some like shots of like what it'll take to win, to really like intimate moments between these people that are like they're kind of in a situation they don't want to be in, but in the moments where they can be themselves, it's really sweet and wonderful. Even when it's like kind of set up for them to be like mean-spirited or arrogant to each other, and I really like that. I like that it can play both sides of that, and it shows that like you have to kind of have both sides to build those meaningful relationships. I really like how that comes through.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Not to like toot my own horn on the mechanics or whatever, but the if you get to play like a full arc where you do sport and then town and then back to sport, the way that like you were in town and you were having these like intimate moments. So you were giving cards to each other, and then suddenly it's back to sport, and everybody still has those cards in their rail, and it's like,
Yeah.
wait, did I just like give the other people the points to win because I was trying to be friends with them in that last scene? Like the way the scenes like roll into each other is really fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. And there is that kind of like hesitation, like even in the town where it's like, no, I'm gonna flip this card. Like there's this weird competitiveness to it. That like emerged, like I don't know. It was very, very cool to see the different play styles. Like, cause mine, I was just like, I don't know, man. I'm just going with it. Versus like a more like methodical approach to like get the score. That would be really interesting to see.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because like if it was just the sports half of the game, I think it would still be a really good game, right? And then we like, flipped over the town half, and I was like, oh, I'm having bigger feelings about cart penny farthing than I thought I would.
Or could, frankly. Yeah,
that's so great to hear. That's like exactly what I want.
It was crazy too, because like once I got to the town section and like my deck of cards were all like spades and clubs, I was like, this isn't my sweet girl. She wouldn't do this. Like it was like really interesting to see like how that dichotomy, because I played all of my like person cards and like didn't necessarily get as many back. It worked out, but kind of to watch that swing back and forth of like, depending on when you play which suit in which phase is going to determine how you're playing in the next, and have unintended consequences and create big feels and like messes, like messy situations, right? I really like that.
Also, just
thank you.
On the note about the game generally, not necessarily how we played it, I've always thought it was really cool how much stuff is out for Our Minerva. Like all of the crossover characters with other RPG designers.
Oh yeah.
Like the pig crew I messed in a little bit during the stream. Like there's so many like cool novel concepts that I think any one of would be really cool on a game, but then having all of them sort of in one place is like it's just wild.
Thank you. Yeah. I was gonna touch on if anybody was wondering, in like some of the rules text we read, it talked about duty scenes, and then I kind of like alluded to one with my like epilogue there, but we didn't touch on that in the actual play. The reason that I skipped over that is duty scenes a duty scene can replace one town scene of an arc, one of the three, and they're little solo vignettes about memories of your character, like doing their duties as a representative of their divine parent or as like a celebrity athlete, that sort of stuff. So those are really fun to do too, but it obviously wouldn't have worked to be our one non-sports scene in a mini arc.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, the guest characters, which I had so much fun putting together and like reaching out to people. And I still really want to do like a supplement for the game, bring in more guest characters when I have the time to do it. Those come into play when you have your characters graduate out of the sport, basically. When you get more, when you have full arcs to like earn a bunch of brio and buy a bunch of your abilities and stuff, and like have extra to like buy stamps and all that, you can build up cards that have been marked with star stamps or star emblems if you're playing with the emblems rule, and you basically when you build cards with the star emblems, you can like graduate a character out of the
that's very cool.
of the sport, and then replace them with a guy from another TTRPG until you make a new character. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Really quick.
So much cool stuff for like continued play that I'd be really interested in seeing at some point. That obviously didn't fit in like a one shot, but
right.
I'd be interested in like potentially seeing like a longer version of this.
Yeah.
I also love the idea, like you're creating your weird little guys together, and then drafting them. So it's sort of like, oh, you got the good one, and so like there is buy-in for everyone's success because you were kind of had a hand in making them.
Yeah.
And everybody's voice is like present there. I thought that was really cool and like a fun exercise to be able to kind of flesh out who the character is in a forum rather than just and like ultimately make your own through playing it. But I really liked that it was all collaborative and like it is all collaborative with a really fun element of competitiveness embedded even in every stage. Like I'm making this character, I want to draft them. Like
Yeah.
very
100%. Thank you.
Yeah. I think we're running up on the end here. I know Our Minerva was available in print. Is it still available in print? I know it was print on demand.
You know what? I'm gonna check the itch page to see if it's still available in print. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the print copy's pretty expensive because as we talked about, I put a bunch of stuff in this game, and then I made this huge ass book, and I was not thinking at all about like make this small enough to print affordably. So it's an expensive book, but it's super nice. It like very like vibrant colors and everything. I love this book. As you would hope that I would love the book, and so you can buy a physical from the itch page, and if you don't have the cash for that, you can buy the digital, which comes with the fully illustrated version, comes with a plain text version that's easier to search and copy from and screen read, and it also comes with all of the assets that are in the Picrew, so you can mess with them with more detail if you have an image editing software like Photoshop.
Sick. We actually get all of that at ttrpg.link/ourminerva. We have a shortly for it now.
Awesome.
But yeah, it feels like that's everything. Anyone have anything else they want to add before we go?
No, this was really great, Clove. Thank you for running it for us. I loved it.
Thank you guys for playing.
Yeah, I legitimately.
Thank you.
I legitimately had a blast doing this. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad we got to do it.
Yeah. I guess I'll just plug one more time that all my stuff is at clove.games. I don't have social media to plug anymore. I technically have a Twitter account that's linked on my itch, but I haven't posted in forever. But if I ever do have a social media, I'll link that one on clove.games. So go to clove.games.
Great. Well, until next time, everyone. I'm just gonna wave and say goodbye.
Bye.
Everyone, have fun. Enjoy the
Enjoy your
pizza.
pizza.